Now, think about that. Now, we all have a safety plan. If you don't, you need one that includes firearms. That's only necessary less than 1% of the time. So what is your new plan for 99.99% of the time? Well, you can start with the Burner Launcher, BYRNA. It's the less lethal launcher that can de-escalate any situation for 99% of any altercations. Now, the new Burner Compact Launcher is the smallest, less lethal option to date. It's concealable anywhere. It fires powerful kinetic rounds, tear gas, pepper spray. It also can stop an attacker for up to 40 minutes. No background checks, legal in all 50 states. It ships straight to your door. Burner, because your first line of defense should always be less lethal. Just go to byrna.com today and find the right launcher for you and your family to be safe. That's byrna.com.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
We're going to go Antifa hunting today. Those smarmy little communist bastards. And every Democrat oligarch attached to the money. We're going to have a lot of fun doing that. And when it comes to the Nobel Peace Prize, who gives a rip? Why would anybody want any award ever won by a scumbag fraud Democrat like Barack Obama, who single-handedly destroyed the quality of health care in this country and drove up prices 400%? An award that you won, stupid. That's the only award they win. Thieving rat Democrats. We'll cover that and so much more after news with Patrick Johnson.
Good afternoon. 67 degrees in Chicago on AM 560. The Answer. I'm Patrick Johnson in the AM 560 newsroom. Breezy today, maybe a little bit of rain later on this afternoon into this evening. Upper 50s for overnight lows. Sunny and in the 60s for your Saturday. Middle 60s and a few more clouds on Sunday. Another day of protest against the ICE facility in Broadview. Federal judge blocking President Trump's effort to deploy 300 National Guard troops in the city. And we're hearing from Fox's Garrett Tinney, who's on the scene.
Judge April Perry, a Biden appointee, really laid into the Justice Department attorneys, pointing out that just this week, federal prosecutors dropped charges against 4 of the 5 individuals who allegedly resisted or assaulted officers during protests at this facility. Those cases were part of the government's justification for why the Guard was needed. Judge Perry asked attorneys, what if DHS folks are not tethered to reality in their assessment of events? And later added, this indicates to me a certain lack of credibility of both Defiant and DHS in general. Illinois' Attorney General reiterated those arguments after this ruling came down.
Sister Jean Dolores Schmidt, chaplain for the basketball team at Loyola University, died last night, according to the school. She was 106 years old. Sister Jean rose to celebrity fame during the team's Cinderella run to the Final Four in 2018. Prior to that Final Four matchup against Michigan, Sister Jean asked if she thought God was a basketball fan.
He probably is. And he's probably a basketball fan more of the NCAA than the NBA.
News is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. If you've been getting high quotes for dental implants with medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com, making smiles great again. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat, sponsored by Access One Business IT, Services and Support.
I'm Taylor Riggs, and this is the Fox Business Report.
A massive market sell-off on Wall Street Friday, following President Trump's warning of higher tariffs on Chinese goods in response to China's new restrictions imposed on rare earth mineral exports. The Dow finishing down 879 points, S&P 500 down 183, NASDAQ down 820. Bloomberg News is reporting that AstraZeneca is expected to announce a deal with President Trump to cut drug prices. AstraZeneca makes the cancer drug Tagrisso and the diabetes medication Farxiga, among others. Shares of Protagonist Therapeutics skyrocketing Friday. The Wall Street Journal reporting that Johnson & Johnson is in talks to acquire the biopharmaceutical company. They're already partnering up on developing an oral treatment for immune diseases, including plaque psoriasis and ulcerative colitis. And that's your Fox Business Report. I'm Laura Cantor, invested in you.
Larry Elder sees a major sticking point.
Democrats opposed it, asked for $1.5 trillion in additional spending, including health care for illegal aliens. Do you think I'm making this up? This is Maxine Waters.
But are Democrats demanding health care for illegal aliens?
Democrats are demanding health care for everybody.
Just in case there's any misunderstanding.
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 8, right before Shaun Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation honors the sacrifices of America's heroes. Heroes like U.S. Army Specialist Andy Keith Kingsley. Andy was part of the 82nd Airborne Division. He received various awards and decorations, including a Purple Heart. While deployed, Andy was catastrophically injured in combat. Andy and his family received a mortgage-free smart home from Tunnel to Towers. But many more heroes like Andy need your support. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/Mike.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
Trouble-free conditions on the Edens. Going out, the Kennedy still heavy, 50 minutes downtown to the airport. You will see tie-ups in the Express Division to Costner. On the outbound Eisenhower, 50 minutes to Wolf Road, hour and 10, out to 390. Stevenson, 1 hour, DuSable Lakeshore Drive to 355. Southbound 55, a crash at 355 in the inbound Ryan has one at 83rd, back out 30 minutes. Heavy along DuSable Lakeshore Drive, especially going south between Grand and Balboa. That is due to marathon closures in that area. All the tollways are busy, and eastbound Jane Addams, an accident at the Tri-State. Traffic is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants? With medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com, making smiles great again. From the AM 560, The Answer Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies with a low of 51. Tomorrow, enjoy abundant sunshine with a high of 64. Tomorrow night will be mostly clear with a low of 53. Sunday will bring a mix of sun and clouds, creating pleasant conditions with a high of 69. On Monday, anticipate a blend of sun and clouds, possibly accompanied by isolated showers in the afternoon. The high will reach 75. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Get top dollar for guns and military items. DonleyAuctions.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to
Damn it, squirrel! I'm going to call an audible again. Why do I read right before the mic goes on? Think we're going to go after one thing? We're going after another, and I'll tell you why. When I log into all these sites to watch the mafia, the Democrat mafia, root against America is really an amazing thing. Growing up at a time when you may have nuanced disagreements, but everybody wanted the country to succeed. So now what's happening are a couple of different things. Number one, they're celebrating the Dow Jones going down 878 points, which, me too, because I've been telling you for 5 years that it's full of dung. And I told you the same thing after Barack Obama, the thief, the fraud, the con artist who was late on his ghetto Bentley when he was a state rep and all of a sudden was going to change Obamacare. Everybody knew what it was going to do. It's up 400%. Premiums average $2,500 for a family of four. And still the morons want to cover it up and they're going to shut the government down. It's not arguing anymore. It's two worlds. Do you understand? One where the scum want to control everybody else's money. And I'll tell you why I'm talking like this right now. I don't ever go on asshat known as Facebook. I don't. The station does. I don't go on check anything. I really don't. So I get a text from somebody that checks my stuff. And I get a friend of mine who I grew up with, who I liked. But always on the bull dung. You know, I grew up in Melrose Park. Hello? Everybody was on the dung. All interwoven with government and corruption and sitting on their ass collecting a check. And this kid went on to be in the windmill business. He says, I don't know what you're talking about, brother. And I like him. And I hope everybody's good in his family and he's a wonderful guy. I was in Portland. It's great. I'm in Chicago this weekend. It's great. Now, I'm not arguing with you. You can lie to yourself. You can lie to idiots. But you're not going to lie about reality. The reality of the cost of these imbeciles destroying our once great city, destroying everywhere they touch, is why they should be controlled to just ruining our once great areas. The idea that you would let these imbeciles from Chicago, from Delaware, anywhere the Democrats have destroyed the quality of life, you're going to let them go to Washington, D.C. and control policy? That, to me, is insanity. And when you look at the national debt from before Barack Obama to after that moron, you're talking $30 trillion. You think I give a rip if the Dow Jones is down 878 points? That's actually good for the dollar if you knew anything about money and economics and what hardworking Americans transact their currency in. Most hardworking guys, they don't give a rip about that Dow. They're worried about paying the bills. So when the Dow goes down, the buying power of my dollar goes up. That's just one thing. And then I was reminded of... He had dementia, but before that, he was a fracking moron from Delaware, Joe Biden. A moron. Bidenomics. You mean ghettonomics? The same ghettonomics that destroys everywhere there's a Democrat? And I remember as we watch all this talk of the snub to Donald Trump of the Nobel Peace Prize. Well, don't they also give economic degrees or economic awards? The Nobel laureate. Oh, really? Like the same morons that said Bidenomics was going to be good? And one president, one with dementia and dirty pants, one who had just soiled his trousers, one added $9 trillion to the debt in 4 years. That is more than the country accumulated in 236 years. One. But he had all the support of the Nobel laureates. Well, here's a little message to all you Nobel fans. Kiss my firm ass.
Today, 15 recipients of the Nobel Prize in Economics released a letter in support of the president's Build Back Better plan,
including 4 Nobel Prize winners recently highlighted in an open letter.
17 Nobel laureates who have...
Here, I got your Nobel Prize right here, like Sharman. That's what it's good for, you morons.
This will help address inflation.
14 Nobel laureates in economics said it'll actually bring down the cost. It will reduce the deficit, and it will totally paid for, and it's going to reduce inflation. 17 Nobel laureates in economics. 15 Nobel laureates in economics released a letter yesterday. 17 Nobel Prize winners in economics have said, spontaneously wrote to me together. And 14 Nobel laureates in economics wrote to me telling me that it would also diminish the impact of inflation. And I told you about the impact of...
Don't worry. He's walking around a circle right now with a changing table in the middle saying, did I win? Stupid son of a dog. And every moron that voted for him. Shut your ass up.
17 Nobel laureates saying it's going to decrease inflation, not increase. And this is from 15 Nobel laureates in economics.
Just keeps making it up. Like the story about how he used to date his wife when she was a 14-year-old babysitter. Then it was the story. No. My brother showed me a picture of her in a magazine. Sure. She used to babysit your kids, you sick bastard. Child sniffer.
Cool. Because this agenda, the one I'm talking about, mine, 17 Nobel winners of the economics have written a letter just about 3 weeks ago to me affirming that this bill would ease long-term inflationary pressures. 14, I think it was 14, Nobel laureate economist
I mean, it's and if you factor in with the cost and the destruction of the dollar, the inflation under this stupid son of a dog, in 4 years, $9 trillion on the national debt and 30% inflation, and these are the fracking morons. What are you going to do? You're going to give me an award? You're going to agree with me on the nuances of Keynesianism? You're all morons.
Over $1.3 billion.
And they would vote for that stupid son of a dog again, as they voted for that office whore who was his vice president. So now when you talk about the shutdown, here's how it works, stupid. All you have to do is have the Senate vote yes on all the things they voted for. The only party that can shut down the government are the moron Democrats.
You say this is a Republican shutdown, but it's Democratic senators who are withholding their votes on what is called a clean resolution. That means no strings attached, which is...
These are Democrat morons, by the way. All Democrat morons who fluffed up. Now it's the end of the road meeting. And what I like about this, personally, is the way that Joe Biden lied about the economy. Wasn't just through printing up $9 trillion in excess of all the money they collected from everybody. They faked the employment numbers because they hired suck-ons. Government suck-ons. And I believe I said after Donald Trump was too big to rig the election in 2024, if you were hired under Joe Biden, if you got a contract under Joe Biden, if your business got a loan under Joe Biden, be nervous because the party's over. Now, fire everybody and release the AI.
And quite frankly, Leader, that you and other Democrats have advocated for in the past. Take a look.
You do not use the threat of shutting down government to try to advance.
How come nobody asked her about the Dow Jones closing 878 points? I mean, after all, her return on investment is greater than any trader in the history of stocks. The inside trading drunk whore. Nobody asked her. How about Ro Khanna? He's right underneath her. 180 million. In inside stock trades since 2018. Anybody ask these two idiots? Hey, morons, what do you guys think of the economy, you thieves?
Your policy agenda.
First thing that the House has to do is pass a clean 6 weeks.
Harry Reid. Oh, I can't. This is why, Squirrel, when people say, aren't you afraid, you're not always talking about the right thing and the right thing. This is the upside for a guy like me. Because in the worst case scenario, and I end up with Beelzebub in Haiti, I'm going to find this crooked son of a dog, and I'm going to beat his ass every day for eternity.
A continuing resolution that is at the fiscal year 2023 level.
Now, this is before he went to the Diddy party, where he made an illegal alien dress up like Fidel Castro before he baby oiled him up from head to toe.
Is the only way forward.
Yeah. You can get him to say anything. Like a Chicago alderman. Here's 500. Say what I want you to say, crook. And by the way, lower my property taxes like a Pritzker.
Blaming the Republicans for the shutdown, but in point of fact, it's the Democrats in the Senate who are refusing to vote for the clean continuing resolution to fund the government for 7 weeks. I mean, that just as a point of fact, the way that we have always covered shutdowns is that the party that is not voting for the CR, the continuing resolution.
Even Jake Tapper. He must have met a new side girl who wasn't a communist.
To fund the government is the party that is blocking the government funding and is responsible for the shutdown. That's how we did it the last time in 2018, 2019. That's the time we did before that during the Obama administration. I mean, it's your party that is refusing in the Senate that is refusing to vote for the continuing resolution. You're blaming.
So what you're doing here is you're watching. Even the most efficient, pathological, schizophrenic, lying frauds, Democrats, find a rebuttal against the people who sold you that Joe Biden could tie his shoes, let alone figure out what a Nobel laureate was. And these are the people that hid and still hide that one president added more to the national debt than the entire country could accumulate in 236 years. And that moron still has supporters out there. And most of those supporters are profiteers. Either they were in on that green energy bulldung scam, from windmills to solar, in the face of Ivanhoe and Solyndra and the electric cars swindle and everything else. Windmills and solar suck. They don't provide any energy. They provide money to be stolen by thieves in the windmill and in the solar panel business. And that's why they can't exist on themselves any more than a construction company who only does work for the city of Chicago and charges 5 times what other construction across the country. It's the same kind of scam. The only difference is, at least for a little while, when those half-ass mafia construction guys put a road up, you could drive on it for about 6 months before you break a wheel in a pothole. Other than that, it's the same scam without half the effort. And that's what we're really talking about. And this is good news, because under Donald Trump, all the Joe Biden stealing for that green energy bulldung, it's all out of the window. And now we have the evidence of all of the nonsense that they claimed were wildfires.
118,000 acres were burned in 2019
by Democrats, by schizophrenic eco-terrorists who were setting fires the whole time.
This dude just started the fire.
Dramatic video. No kidding. And now the good news is the government, they're not only going to get rid of the cartel members and the illegal aliens and the drug dealers and the low-rent welfare roaches who've been helping you steal election. They're going to arrest the arsonists. They're going to arrest the cartel scum, which is why you probably haven't heard this on other news shows, but I want you to hear it. Sinaloa, what's their second city? Isn't it Chirac, where they walk around with impunity? Got their little taco carts, trolley carts, where they can exchange drugs and money, and we'll pretend if you arrest them, they're great citizens for 2 decades, even though they don't want to take advantage of the 6 pathways to become a citizen. So now they're a little upset. All the cartel gringo, where do gringo? What do they call themselves with their big buckle and the pointed shoes? It doesn't matter. Let's call them scumbags. They're all nervous.
A powerful faction of Mexico's Sinaloa cartel warned that they are going to kill American citizens in popular tourist locations. The warning, delivered via public banners known as Narco Mantas, highlights the dangers in the cartel's war against U.S. law enforcement, who are working to stop human trafficking and the flow of illegal drugs into the United States. The threats were first seen in the resort town of Los Cabos, a destination once considered safe for Americans, but is now ground zero for cartel infighting. 2 banners.
I don't know why the hell you'd go there anyway. It's the year 2025. You still can't touch the Franken salad. The hell are you going there? Without our money, they'd be selling blankets out of a teepee, these morons. 312-642-5600.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
If you're one of the millions of Americans behind on your taxes, if you're afraid to open your mail because IRS collection letters could be coming, listen carefully. The IRS is cracking down, taking paychecks, freezing bank accounts, revoking passports. That's a fact. But here's what most people don't know. There are official tax relief programs designed to help struggling taxpayers. Programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief. Optima's award-winning team will fight to protect your paycheck, your passport, and your property. Their tax attorneys and licensed tax professionals will work tirelessly to get you the best deal possible with the IRS. Every day, penalties and interest keep piling up, so don't wait. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
If your cash is sitting in a savings account, it's at risk. Old school advice says save more, but today the strategy is broken. When inflation spikes, they print money or cut rates, your dollar shrinks. So do your savings. The solution? Own something real. Physical gold and silver. When the dollar drops, gold and silver prices rise. And with Noble Gold, owning gold is simple. Just visit NobleGoldInvestments.com and chat with a specialist. The knowledge is free. The protection is priceless. Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult your financial advisor before making investment decisions.
AM 560. The Answer.
I didn't even get on to the moron, socialist, Marxist, and communist calling ICE Gestapo. You fracking morons. Old white Democrat thief from Connecticut. What else is new? Bob, Naperville.
Hey, Shaun, how you doing?
Good, Bob. How are you?
Good to finally talk to you. It's Friday, thank God. So, hey, listen, I just want to call because I just have to say that you are the first and only host, talk shows that I've heard that puts the connection with Obama's Chicago, craziness.
Mafia?
When he went to Mafia, and when he went to Washington, and just the exponential growth of corruption and craziness that happened. Back in the day, I told everybody, we got to vote for him. I said, you're not. He's a Chicago politician. Just wait till he gets to Washington. It's going to be worse. And sure enough, what happened?
80% of the debt. If I'm kind, it's 80. It's really 85%. 85% of the debt of this country was accumulated after Barack Obama went to Washington. That is a staggering reality.
Exactly. It's nuts. And that's the asteroid. When did all of this craziness start? When he got elected. It's all been downhill. And I told everybody, listen, you think Washington's corrupt now? They've always been corrupt. But once they got there, he's like, hey, this is how you do it. They're like, this is how you do it. Okay. And then it just went, boom. It just went bonkers.
Bob, that solar panel Ivanhoe that just closed, they're doing the math. It's $2.6 billion in just that one field. When you factor in the wind and the solar around the country, you're probably close to, you're probably close to $1 trillion. $1 trillion in that scam. So no wonder my buddy, whose family business is the windmills, I don't know what you're so mad about. Sure, because you won't have to work, your kids won't have to work. You guys have absconded with who knows how many hundreds of millions, just that one company, let alone the cost of that entire scam. And the whole time, other Democrats were setting the fracking fires. I got 5 clips. My favorite is the California professor who single-handedly burned 350,000 acres so that other Democrats could go around and pretend there's climate change in danger. They're still doing it, by the way.
It's all over the place. And then look at the Nobel Peace Prize crap. That is ridiculous.
First of all, the guy's Norwegian, and his whole claim to fame is he patented dynamite. Ooh, look at you. You want to talk about propaganda. Next to the guy from the Blood Diamond, I can't think of a better one, the Rhodes Scholar. Oh, you give scholarships? Sure.
Right.
I might have killed 6 million Africans to get a hold on diamonds and control the market, but I'm a good guy. I'll pay your tuition. Love it, Bob. Thanks for the call. Glenn in Orlando. Cecil Rhodes is a piece of dung, too. I'm kicking his ass, too, if I ever go to the bad place. Go ahead.
Hey, Shaun. So you remember earlier in the year when the Trump tariffs the Fed said the Trump tariffs were going to taint the economy. Now, the Fed has hundreds of PhD economists. How did they get it wrong?
It's like the climate science. You bribe some moron that never worked a day in his life, went to college and took a class that he passed but never made a real dollar or a real difference. He'll say anything. He'll say anything. And you know what I love, too, about this story with this illegal alien simpleton who ran the schools in Iowa? Without the Trump administration, that scumbag would have got away with what he was doing to this country and to those people for decades. For absolute decades, what he was doing. And they got him in an Obama-fashion scam. I don't know if you saw the news. How much time do I got here, Honey Bunny? I don't know if you saw the news, but that guy, what's his name, Honey Bunny? Ian Roberts, right? Ian Roberts, Glenn. He was affiliated with another group. This is the Obama scams. Hold on, hang on for a minute.
Des Moines Public Schools Board says it's reviewing all spending related to Ian Roberts. It's been discovered that he tried to use district funds to contract a consulting firm he had ties to. KCCI's Abigail Curran spoke with the spokesperson for the district. Abigail, what concerns are there?
Less than 3 months into his time as DMPS's superintendent, Roberts proposed a contract with Kansas City-based consulting firm Lively Paradox. But Lively Paradox listed him as a member of its team.
$116,000. That's how much money Ian Roberts asked the district to contract with Lively.
That's just one, Glenn. So the scum, the illegal alien fraud with his made-up resume was making $340,000 as the head of the school system, and he was doing these scams. That's Chicago Democrat mafia stuff, baby. And that goes on across this country by every suck-on Democrat who's in a position of power he doesn't deserve. Book it, Glenn. Book it. You heard it here first. Every one of them. Boy, you guys are hard to figure out. I don't know how you do it. You guys got everything. You got the green energy. What happened to Gavin Newsom? Wasn't he suing?
The climate crisis is, after all, a fossil fuel crisis. Period.
There is no fossil fuel. It's a made-up fracking word. Fossil fuel. Then why do we have fossils that are hundreds of millions, if not billions of years old? Why aren't they oil? Why aren't we digging oil wells in a cemetery? Why aren't there? Because it's a lie meant to politically rape. Now Gavin Newsom could tell people, I don't want anyone to know, but my dad was the lawyer for John Paul Getty, the richest oil man throughout the 70s and 80s. And my dad was his lawyer. And all my trust fund money is from oil money. But now I'm going to sue the oil company. Sure you are. And the fires were set by lightning. 312-642-5600.
Marxists, socialists, and communists are not welcome on the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Is your company's cybersecurity ready to handle today's cyber attacks? Some companies never recover due to the fallout. Listen to this. In 2021, a ransomware group called DarkSide gained access to Colonial Pipeline through a compromised password. The impact? 4.4 million paid in ransom. In 2017, Equifax had a massive breach which ended up costing over $700 million in settlements. Large companies from Target, Yahoo, to small businesses, including medical practices, have suffered major losses due to cyber attacks. Many have had to close their doors. Access One is here to protect your business 24/7. Cybersecurity isn't just about IT. It's about protecting your survival and customer trust. If you're concerned about your cybersecurity, get a free baseline cybersecurity assessment from AM560 sponsor Access One. Call 1-800-804-8333 or fill out the contact form at accessoneinc.com. Access One has been protecting Chicago businesses for 3 decades. That's 1-800-804-8333 or accessoneinc.com.
Honey, why does it take you so long to get ready?
Oh, because I've got one tiny sink. I'm trying to balance makeup on the back of the toilet, and the mirror's always fogged up.
Sounds like a circus act.
Exactly. And I perform every morning.
At Forever Remodeling, we create bathrooms that fit your life, not the other way around. From extra storage to spa-like showers and timeless finishes, we make your mornings easier. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com.
Want to see if you could pay less in taxes? Try the quick and easy tax calculator at willsave.com. Yes, a free tax calculator. That's WILSAVE.com. Calculate how you could keep more of your hard-earned money and give less to Uncle Sam, especially in retirement. Get your free tax analysis today at willsave.com. And don't forget to tune in to Protecting Your Assets with Steve Shyman every Saturday morning at 8, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
And if you're worried about the market going down, then make sure whoever is handling your money understands what your risk tolerance is. That's the first question somebody will ask you who's good at managing money. Somebody like my friend, Tom Fortino, and the people at Alpha Wealth Group, they'll understand what your risk tolerance is, number one. Number two, they'll understand you have to be diversified to navigate the potholes of an economy that can fluctuate at any millisecond. And more importantly, you have to hold your money properly so that when you die, your family gets it and the government doesn't come in again to extort you, to steal money you've been taxed on your whole life. And if you're smart, you set it up when you're young in a Roth IRA, Tom Fortino and the people of Alpha Wealth Group can make sure you hold all of your important investments in there, including real estate, which you can hold in a Roth IRA, but only if you go to somebody who understands and has the knowledge to structure your retirement so you don't have to worry when you retire. That's Tom Fortino and all the people at Alpha Wealth Group. And all you have to do is call 630-864-6711. That's 630-864-6711. Or online at alphawealthgroup.com to schedule a no-obligation consultation. They'll give you this advice for free by simply calling 630-864-6711. And I like Friday, but not because I have 2 days off. Not at all. But tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., right here on AM 560 The Answer, the Alpha Wealth Group Hour, where they discuss markets and knowledge you need to navigate markets for free right here tomorrow at 9 a.m. When we get back, we're going to go to the lines. Lee, George, Chris, we'll take all your calls after News with Patrick.
Thanks, Shaun. Good afternoon. 65 degrees now in Chicago in the AM 560 newsroom on AM 560, The Answer. Less than 24 hours after troops arrived in Chicago, a district court issued a temporary block on the Trump administration's deployment of the National Guard in the Windy City. Attorney General for the state, Kwame Raoul, telling the press that he supports the move by Judge April Perry, a Biden appointee, when detailing the order.
The judge has ordered that the National Guard of the United States, whether they're from Texas or any other one of the 50 states, should not be deployed within the state of Illinois.
Pope Leo calling on labor union leaders in Chicago to stand up for immigrants and welcome minorities into their ranks as the Trump administration intensifies its immigration enforcement. He was speaking Thursday, and the Chicago-born pontiff says communities must protect public safety while also respecting the human dignity of the most vulnerable. Cardinal Blaise Supich attended the meeting and said Leo is aware of the situation in the U.S. and urged bishops to speak with one voice on immigration ahead of next month's bishops' conference. Sporting life, the Chicago Marathon kicks off Sunday, marking the 47th year of the city's biggest race. More than 53,000 runners are expected to take part. The 26.2-mile course will wind through more than 24 neighborhoods before finishing in Grant Park. News is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. If you've been getting high quotes for dental implants with medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com, making smiles great again. Let's head to the traffic center. Check of the roads with Jill Urchak.
Trouble-free conditions on the Edens going out the Kennedy downtown to O'Hare is 55 minutes, 30 out to Montrose. Express lanes are tight, Ogden to Keeler. Inbound Eisenhower, that is an hour and 20. The outbound Eisenhower, hour and 5. Then we're seeing delays on the outbound Stevenson, 48 minutes out to 3:55. Outbound Dan Ryan, 25. Stop and go in the Express, 33rd to Marquette. Skyway and I-57 are fine. Bishop Ford also looks good. Southbound DuSable Lakeshore Drive, heavy north to Belbo. Those are marathon closures through Grant Park, but you are seeing delays either way on all of the tollways at this time. No crashes, though. Every crash we've had has been moved off to the side. Heavy conditions, northbound Route 53 from the Jane Addams to Kirchhoff, and then delays eastbound 8094 stop and go from the Tri-State to Burr. From the AM 560, The Answer Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies with a low of 51. Tomorrow brings abundant sunshine and a high of 64. Tomorrow night will be mostly clear with a low of 53. Sunday will be partly sunny and pleasant, reaching a high of 69. On Monday, anticipate a mix of sun and clouds with a chance of a shower in spots during the afternoon with a high of 75. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Protect your liver and give it the support it deserves with Active Liver from New Nordic. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or at newnordicusa.com.
The following advertisement includes a celebrity impersonation.
You know, nothing beats the comfort of a perfectly heated home.
And when it comes to heating your home, Air Right Heating and Cooling does it the best.
And they love our country. Beautiful people.
Air Right Heating and Cooling is fast. When your furnace breaks down, they'll fix it right away.
Just like that. Big time results. No waiting around. You get the job done right. And let's face it, who doesn't love being warm, right? It's beautiful. When it's freezing, I crank up that amazing furnace. Burn, baby, burn. Trust me, you'll say, wow, I've never felt this warm in my life.
If you like keeping your hard-earned money, then contact Air Right Heating and Cooling. Tell them AM 560 sent you, and right now you'll receive $56 off any service.
Unbelievable.
Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Air Right Heating and Cooling. Doing it right since 1959.
According to a 2022 FBI statistic, less than 0.01% of all altercations require a lethal response. Now, think about that. Now, we all have a safety plan. If you don't, you need one that includes firearms That's only necessary less than 1% of the time. So what is your new plan for 99.99% of the time? Well, you can start with the Burner Launcher, BYRNA. It's the less lethal launcher that can de-escalate any situation for 99% of any altercations. Now, the new Burner Compact Launcher is the smallest, less lethal option to date. It's concealable anywhere. It fires powerful kinetic rounds, tear gas, pepper spray. It also can stop an attacker for up to 40 minutes. No background checks, legal in all 50 states. It ships straight to your door. Burner, because your first line of defense should always be less lethal. Just go to byrna.com today and find the right launcher for you and your family to be safe. That's byrna.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
I was so nervous I was going to have Columbus Day. Sometimes they'll make me take it off, but we will be live on Columbus Day. A little programming note. I don't like days off. George, Naperville.
Yes, I got two quick things, Shaun. Instead of always seeing the bad side of Barack, put your eyes back to when Oprah was shedding tears of joy on a white man when he became president. And as far as that Nobel Prize, everybody gets a prize today for participating, and you know that.
Oh, yeah. And Barack's a Chicagoan, even though he grew up in Indonesia. And he's black, even though his mother's way whiter than me. Lee Hammond.
Hey, Shaun. Shaun, you mentioned Cecil Rhodes. Good book on how Cecil Rhodes and those European oligarchs put a stranglehold on American governance.
Oh, yeah.
Called The Killing of Uncle Sam. It's all about how, going back to the days of Cecil Rhodes, how they systematically took control of our government and made it a lackey to whatever these European oligarchs wanted.
He was the first. He wanted to pretend he was a Fabian socialist, but he was a control oligarch. But how many Democrats, how many Cecil Rhodes recipients of his phony scholarship understand that he's De Beers Diamonds? That how many millions of Africans he killed to have a monopoly on the diamond business to this day? To this day in Africa, how many people know that? And they all say he's a great human being. Really? How do you quantify the damage that one piece of dung Cecil Rhodes did to the world? Go ahead.
Yeah, and the thing is, they don't the Democrats in this country, the people on the left, have no idea that the very people that they laud as great leaders of Western civilization are the very ones that would enslave all of us at the drop of a hat.
It's like when you listen to this nonsense about the climate change. Do they know that Rockefeller started it, financed it, and still does to drive up the price of oil? Do they know that? How stupid they are? Fossil fuels. I love when they say fossil fuels. I do. It shows me just how stupid these imbeciles are. Thank you very much for the call. Chris, Orland Park.
Hey, Shaun. I'm glad the Pope thinks the union should accept legal immigrants. We haven't had one of the unions in Chicago in forever, so that's nice.
Who said that? Who said that? The South Side guy?
The Pope.
Yeah, you mean the infallible South Sider? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you guys really hooked me with that one. Are you out of your fragging mind?
Well, what I'm calling about is, I really hope this ceasefire in Gaza holds. I mean, there's so many people are going to lose money. I mean, these fools protesting every week are going to lose money. Hamas selling stuff on the side, weapons. A lot can go south fast, and people are going to lose money.
Well, but maybe they could get that Palestinian furniture market back online. You know, I'm dying. I can't find a Palestinian love seat anywhere. Go ahead.
I mean, you got any penny stock tips for me out there?
Oh, I don't toil with the. You want to know something? You're going to laugh. I don't really toil with stocks, and I don't really, and penny stocks specifically. It's a dangerous game.
No,
I got
Palestinian penny stocks I was getting at.
Oh, you're talking about the Palestinian stock market. I think it had a big day today, Palestinian stock market. Yeah, their currency exchange did really well. And you know what was really busy there is their property title transfers. Oh, their title companies slammed today. Really, really, really moving forward with that Palestinian economics, which exists pretty much on welfare. Thank you very much, Chris, for annoying me. And speaking of Islamo-Nazi theocrats, here's one.
We went on your website and realized there's a policy proposal that says your plan, and I'm going to quote it for folks, is to shift the tax burden from overtaxed homeowners in the outer boroughs to more expensive homes in richer and whiter neighborhoods. Explain why you are bringing race into your tax proposal?
That is just a description of what we see right now. It's not driven by race. It's more of an assessment of what neighborhoods are being undertaxed versus overtaxed.
Whoa. Take it easy there, stupid. I know you're 33. You never did anything in your miserable life. But take it easy. You don't know how the game works among Democrats, whether you're white or you're black. It's if you're connected, brother. You don't pay fracking taxes. You don't pay taxes if you're connected, especially like in Chirac.
The governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, is under investigation for federal tax evasion after he removed all of the toilets in his mansion to lower the value of his home from $6 million to $1 million, saving him hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes.
So what's Mamdani going to do here? Which one are you going to do? He's white. He claims to be a billionaire, even though now he's getting made fun of by other reporters.
But take it from an actual billionaire.
How do you see yourself in your own profile in terms of what kind of messenger you could be? You are a billionaire, heir.
Yeah, you're a billionaire heir. You never worked a day in your butter-handed fat-ass life. You got the money because your mommy knew who to give a lap dance to. That's how you got the money. And still, with $2,000 million you were handed before your brother, who, if he's a Pritzker, I'm Rumpelstiltskin. Do you ever see the younger brother, Squirrel? Looks just like the mother's bodyguard. Just like him. Nothing like a Fred Flintstone whatsoever. Anyway, so when you got the money, it was $2,000 million. And still, you lied? And then you blamed your wife and your brother-in-law for the toilets out? That's the character of a Democrat. How is Mamdani going to tax other Democrat scumbags like Pritzker?
Pritzker, his wife, and his brother-in-law are all being investigated for allegedly using toilets to avoid taxes.
I love that. That's how you know a butter-handed Democrat. Well, that was my wife. It was all her idea and the brother, not me.
The question was vacant for years. That's when Pritzker decided to remove all the toilets in an alleged calculated move to avoid paying the proper amount of taxes. This allowed the home to...
And by the way, the fat bastard doesn't have any income, so he never paid income tax. He doesn't pay any fracking taxes at all. Oh, because they're Grandpa Abe. Ooh, what a shyster accountant he was, huh?
We've seen time and again that this is a property tax system that is inequitable. It's one that actually Eric Adams ran on, saying that he would change in the first 100 days.
You know what I love about it? It's called an ad valorem system. You're only to pay taxes on what you own and the value of it. And you could argue that's wrong, especially when you're paying taxes over and over and over again. But it's a tax system based on property rights. You communist piece of dung, you. And the idea that this imbecile as mayor can change anything shows you how the people who support him, they're just as stupid as he is. He's a fracking mayor. He can do guts on goal.
Since sought to defend it and lost at every juncture in court.
And I understand you're saying we're simply describing the types of neighborhoods that would see these increase in taxes, and yet by invoking race, do you run the risk of potentially alienating key constituents?
I think I'm just naming things as they are.
No. Constituents. The only constituents he has are the same constituents J.B. Pritzker has. Either the direct welfare roach that gets his rent and his food and his walking around money and his dope and his health care covered, or it's the pirates of policy, like the ones who brag about how great windmills are, solar, EV batteries, the pirates. That's your two constituents, the direct on the nipple and the pirate of policy. That's why when someone tells you they're a Democrat, they're lying, like Mamdani. He's a communist or whatever the hell he is. But more importantly, what he really is a thief. It's not a party, it's a confession. 312-642-5600.
He's Shaun Thompson.
Hello, Mr. Thompson.
And this is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
MyPillow is excited to announce they're having their biggest 3-in-1 sale ever with a limited edition product, a back-in-stock special, and a closeout deal you won't find anywhere else. My Slippers, only $39.98. Any color, any style. Regular $149.98. Now only $39.98. That's a $110 savings. Once they're gone for good. My Towels are finally back in stock, but not for long. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69.98. Now only $39.98. And for the first and only time, get their limited edition premium My Pillows made with Giza cotton and a designer gusset. Queens $17.98, Kings only $19.98. Also, for a limited time, when your order is over $100, you'll receive free shipping plus $100 in free digital gifts. So go to mypillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. That number again is 800-489-0201. Promo code LIBERTY.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Robert Anderson, president of McLaughlin Body Company in the Quad Cities, and a customer of Signature Bank. When our 100-year-old family-owned manufacturing company was looking for a new bank, we found an excellent partner with Signature Bank. Signature Bank understands the challenges with manufacturing in today's highly competitive environment. We recently participated in the New Markets Tax Credit Program, and we're fortunate to have the experts at Signature Bank help us navigate the complexities of this program. With Signature Bank's support, we were able to expand not only our facility, but ultimately our business. If you're looking for a trusted banking partner for your business, look to Chicago's own Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money. You're an adult, right? But you should know, gold has increased over 80% in the past 2 years. Yeah, 80%. So if you think stuffing money under your mattress or riding the roller coaster of Wall Street is your retirement plan, well, I wouldn't want to be banking on that strategy. It's time to diversify your savings and retirement assets into physical metals like gold and silver. That's where Advantage Gold comes in. When you call 800-741-GOLD, we'll send you a free gold kit that explains how rolling over your IRA or 401k into gold could not only supercharge your retirement, but maybe even help preserve your sanity. And let's be real, when's the last time you ever heard someone say, "Hey, sell all your gold"? Exactly. Never. The number's simple, 800-741-4653. And if you can spell, even better, that's 800-741-GOLD. Always consult with your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-741-GOLD.
AM 560, The Answer.
So what's fun today is that on the top of the 5 o'clock hour, it's just going to be me and you. We've got our friend joining us at 5:35. That's when EJ's coming on, right, honey bunny? EJ and Tony at 5:35. Right now, though, we're going to talk to Phil in Tinley Park. How are you, Phil?
Hey, you hear me okay? I got you on speaker.
Hey, you sound all right to me. Go ahead. Shoot until it gets annoying.
Phil and Tinley is in Broadview right now. I'm like right by the ice defense. I'm going to yell some supportive things to them.
Oh,
all right, everybody crank up your radio so they can hear it.
You want me to say?
Thank you, Ice.
Yeah,
Thank you, right. Shaun, give me some good things to yell here, man.
Thank you for keeping the honest citizens of Chicago safe. Thank you for doing the job crooked Democrat rat politicians and guys in costumes wouldn't do. Thank you for...
Phil and Shaun say thank you, Ice.
That's good
Thank
enough.
you, Ice.
Very good. Thank you,
Ice.
Thank
you, Ice.
I'm going to keep Phil abreast and everybody else.
Come on.
I've got good news for you, Phil. A friend of mine, I put two very smart guys, very, very hardworking guys together, and there's Russell, that they're going to have a barbecue.
Like weed here, by the way. Thank you, Ice.
Oh, we got to cut that into a promo. Thank you, Phil. Steve, Carey.
Oh, Shaun,
Yeah,
I just wanted to tell you that my lovely wife and I enjoyed a wonderful dinner at Brant's in Palatine.
Oh, it's Jim Iriel.
Heard about Brant's on your show, and I know we went in there knowing that it was pretty good. We had read some reviews. I talked to people that I work with and that I know. No one had a bad thing to say. It was beyond expectation.
Really, that's Jim Iriel is a capitalist who started that, bought it. And he's a great trader and a smart son of a gun. And I said to him, and I meant it, now that John Anthony is doing his morning show, Jim Iriel, the owner of Brant's, will be the only one I let fill in for me if I ever take a day off. All right?
Oh, wow. No kidding.
Yeah. So I can't wait. And by the way, you've done something I haven't done. I've heard all the rumors, and I've talked to people directly, but I have not gone there. So the next time I'm in town, I'm going there. All right, Steve?
Oh, dear. You know what? I will buy you a cigar.
Oh, you had me at Bayou. Thank you very much, Dave. I appreciate it. Dan, Salem, Wisconsin.
Hey, Shaun, now we got the Pope telling the people to avoid federal law. Isn't that wonderful? Isn't he a wonderful Christian?
Ah, come on. It's outsiders. The Pope of the Vatican Bank. What was the guy in Cicero? The banker from Cicero. And probably, arguably, one of the last heterosexual Vatican members we had. It was fantastic to watch him launder mafia money. What the hell was his name, Squirrel? I always forget his name. It was exactly what he... Not the guy that got hung under the bridge, the other guy. This guy. You know which one I'm talking about. I don't care what the... what's the rumor? He's supposed to be better than the last guy? Okay, fine. Good for you. It's good. I hope everybody does good and infallible and all of that. Go ahead. Have a good time. Every time I say something, somebody gets mad at me. We get 1,000 emails, but I will stick with... I've never met a Southsider who was infallible. That's just me. One of the other things I want to cover, I know we got calls coming into the line. One of the other things I want to cover is Letitia. I was going to save it for next segment because when we go... How much time do I got, Squirrel? All right, I'm gonna get into it now. All right, and the reason I'm going to get into it now is because it plays right into the power and the level of corruption. Letitia is a big deal in the New York legal system. She could prosecute and not prosecute anybody she wants to. Here she is, right after she secured the so-called victory.
You also intend to prosecute him after he is out of office, correct?
Joy, again, our investigation currently is civil in nature. It is not criminal. In the event that we uncover any activity or conduct, in the event that we uncover any conduct,
they're giddy. This is the most excited Joy Behar has been since the 70s.
Oh, yes.
But will you go ahead with the civil suits?
Yes, our civil suit will continue, whether he's president or not. And so after January 20th at 12 o'clock, our investigation will continue, Joy.
There's no way a potential pardon for Trump or his 3 eldest kids would shield them from anything you're investigating. Am I right? That's what you just said, I believe.
Correct. He cannot pardon himself. What he could do is step down and allow the Vice President Pence, to pardon him.
Or he could recognize that not only are you a moron and a liar, but you yourself are a fraud. And you frauded documents to get mortgages, aside from frauding other documents to get loans. Now, that's very interesting. So to run cover all the scum Democrats, Mark Elias, scum Democrat lawyer.
Really, what we
By the way, I just found out he's a little younger than me. He looks like he's 90, this fat, bald moron.
Living in now is we need to recognize that this is the reality. This is not surreal. Right. This is real. This is not the abnormal. This is the normal. Like, this is the world that we now live in. We live in a world in which the President of the United States is able to get anyone in the country who he wants indicted to be investigated by the FBI.
Now, when newscasters are shown the evidence, well, it's mortgage fraud. She said she married her father to get a VA loan. She lied and then took out another lie, 200% the value. So that's mortgage fraud. And here's what the Democrat newscasters have to say.
Aside for a second, what Tish James, and again, we're still getting the details, but if it's related to this mortgage issue, I mean, this is something that everyone in America, or many people at least, if you're lucky enough to be able to buy a house in America, you deal with this, right? The federal government doesn't go after all of these people for doing this.
Mortgage fraud? Saying you're married to your father? Lying about the number of units? Lying about where you live? Everybody does that? I don't do that. You do that, Squirrel? No, of course not. You know why? You're decent. You have character and integrity. You're not a Democrat. So if she would have quantified that with every Democrat, well, that would be hard to argue with. Mitchell, Displains.
You know, I think, Shaun, we're not being very fair here. You know, the Nobel Peace Prize was announced, and I really think it should go to two different people. It should go to Brandon Johnson and Fed Albert, our wonderful mayor, our governor, because they've showed without a shadow of a doubt what it is like to basically cheat out the citizens from having proper care, proper protection, an oath they took to the people. They demonstrated by leading by example that they couldn't care less about protecting the people and supporting the criminals at every cost, because only Brandon Johnson in his 30-point IQ could come to the conclusion that he's really stupid, okay? And Fed Albert has to have 15 different writers because everything he says is can't. Now,
show a little respect. One guy's got a $6,000 suit on because it's expensive, and the other one has to pay a tailor to make him not look like a beanbag. We'll be back.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Improving your home? Why not make it easy? Don't miss the free home show this weekend only at the Kane County Fairgrounds in St. Charles. See the latest products and services for the freshest ideas to remodel, repair, and beautify your home, inside and out. Don't miss your best chance to save time and money with exclusive show discounts and offers. And get trusted advice on your upcoming projects as you speak with experts who will help you with all of your home improvement needs. With everything from kitchens, baths, and basements to windows, siding and doors, flooring, painting, heating and air, solar power systems, and so much more, this amazing event has it all. And visit the many live interactive displays and product demonstrations all weekend long. From interiors to exteriors, from decor to outdoor, you'll find it all at the home show this weekend. Open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday and Sunday at the Kane County Fairgrounds in St. Charles with free admission and free parking. For details, visit CaneCountyHomeShow.com. That's CaneCountyHomeShow.com.
Rick Borick talks about the emotions of stock market investing.
At what point would you rethink your decision that you're invested in the stock market? And you'll notice that someone who answered that question 6 months ago saying, I'm not going to panic until it's down 30%, calls you up on the phone and says, it's down 8%, what's going on? And I says, what happened to the 30% guy, right?
Unleash Your Wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
So how long were you told you'd be on that medication you're taking? That's what I thought. Question, do you believe it's possible for you to be set free of the medication you're currently on? Or will you be stuck taking it forever? Not to mention all of the side effects. Imagine what it would feel like to be drug-free. You know, the United States makes up less than 5% of the world's population, yet we use over 85% of the world's supply of medication. That's 95% of the world using 15% of the leftover medications, with over 53 other countries living longer than we do here in the United States today. So instead, let's help your body regain its health naturally. Begin your adventure in health with us today by calling our HealthQuest radio hotline and reserve your very own new patient strategy consultation with me. Call 800-794-1855. That's 800-794-1855. Oh, and listen to HealthQuest Radio with me, Dr. David Kolbaba, every Saturday morning at 11.
If your cash is sitting in a savings account, it's at risk. Old school advice says save more, but today the strategy is broken. When inflation spikes, they print money or cut rates, your dollar shrinks. So do your savings. The solution? Own something real. Physical gold and silver. When the dollar drops, gold and silver prices rise. And with Noble Gold, owning gold is simple. Just visit noblegoldinvestments.com and chat with a specialist. The knowledge is free. The protection is priceless. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult your financial advisor before making investment decisions.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
So when we get back, it's me and you, and I'm going to put a bow on what exactly Latita James has done. And what it's really amounts to is about $1.6 million in fraud. We'll discuss that and more after News with Patrick.
Thank you, Shaun. 65 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 newsroom on AM 560. An Argentina-Puerto Rico soccer match that was supposed to be played in Chicago is relocated amid federal immigration enforcement in the city. Here's Jeff Manasso.
A friendly soccer match between Argentina and Puerto Rico is set for next week. Will now be played in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, after organizers say the match here in Chicago was canceled due to low ticket sales, of fears of ICE agents being there, and violent protests surrounding ICE action in and around Chicago that's drawn the presence of the National Guard.
President Trump's taking care of business because the Governor Pritzker and Mayor Johnson don't seem to want to.
That's Border Patrol Chief Greg Bovino. Democrats say the immigration and crime crackdowns are illegal and unconstitutional, though so far more than 1,000 arrests of illegal immigrants have been made here. In Chicago, Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
This comes as the Department of Homeland Security says they are getting more property in Chicago for federal law enforcement efforts. A federal judge has placed a temporary block on Trump's deployment of National Guard troops to the city. The order, which will last for 2 weeks, temporarily blocks the president from federalizing and deploying the Guard in Illinois. The administration is appealing the ruling. News is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. If you've been getting high quotes for dental implants with medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com, making smiles great again. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stocks nosediving Friday after President Trump's warning of a massive tariff increase on Chinese goods. The Dow plunging 879 points, S&P 500 losing 183, NASDAQ plummeting 820. The Dow enduring its biggest loss since May 21st. S&P and NASDAQ experiencing worst day since April 10th. Semiconductor stocks leading the declines, with Qualcomm tanking over 7% at Friday's close on China's antitrust investigation. Shares of AMD plunging nearly 8% at the close. Meanwhile, Applied Digital stocks soared Friday after posting solid first quarter revenue results, thanks to AI data center demand, as it expanded on its $7 billion lease agreement with CoreWeave. And that's your Fox Business Report. I'm Laura Cantor, invested in you.
Get your tickets for Freedom Summit Chicago 2025, happening on Saturday, November 8th at Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. This year, featuring Dr. Ben Carson, Scott Jennings, Mike Gallagher, along with Dan Proft, Shaun Thompson, John Anthony, and many more. This event will sell out fast, so get your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Aid for Women, Breakthrough Ideas, and by Attorney Stephen A. Leahy at Opum Tax Advocates.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation honors the sacrifices of America's heroes. Heroes like U.S. Army Specialist Andy Keith Kingsley. Andy was part of the 82nd Airborne Division. He received various awards and decorations, including a Purple Heart. While deployed, Andy was catastrophically injured in combat. Andy and his family received a mortgage-free smart home from Tunnel to Towers. But many more heroes like Andy need your support. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/Mike.
Hi, this is Shaun Thompson. When you take your grandkids to Disney, do they know what's in your investment portfolio? Do they even care? They're busy having a great time, and you're busy making memories. At Alpha Wealth Group, Tom Fortino understands the nuts and bolts of retirement planning, the investments, the stock market, taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and much more. But think about it. What are you really trying to do here? Is your goal to beat the S&P, or is your goal to make memories with your family? At Alpha Wealth Group, their goal is to give you the confidence to spend in retirement without the fear of running out of money. Call Tom Fortino and the team at Alpha Wealth Group to learn more. You can do it today. Call 630-864-6711. The number again, 630-864-6711. To schedule a no-obligation consultation. You can do it today Online as well at alphawealthgroup.com. That's alphawealthgroup.com.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
On the outbound Edens, it's okay. The Kennedy downtown out to O'Hare, that's an hour. And the Eisenhower 40 to Wolf Road, 1 hour out to 390. Stevenson, 50 minutes to Saba Lakeshore Drive to 355. Dan Ryan out at 25. Those express are tight 33rd to Marquette. Skyway, I-57 Ford, all good, although tied up either way on DuSable Lakeshore Drive. We have some closures set in place both directions, and that is all due to a marathon at Grant Park, and also delays on all of the tollways either way at this time. Northbound 355, an accident on the on-ramp from 75th Street. Traffic is a service of Woodland Windows and Doors. See Marvin Products in their beautiful showroom at the corner of Lake and Gary in Roselle, or visit woodlandwindows.com for a free in-home expert consultation. From the AM 560 The Answer Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchek.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies with a low of 51. Tomorrow, enjoy abundant sunshine with a high of 64. Tomorrow night will be mostly clear with a low of 53. Sunday will bring a mix of sun and clouds, creating pleasant conditions with a high of 69. On Monday, anticipate a blend of sun and clouds, possibly accompanied by isolated showers in the afternoon. The high will reach 75. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Get top dollar for guns and military items. DonleyAuctions.com.
I love America. I love the Constitution. I love the First Amendment. I want to carry and all guns. I love property. And let me tell you something. If you care about your country, read Ludwig von Mises and the 6 lessons of the Austrian Economic School, motherfuckers.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag.
We talked about this a little bit yesterday, and I reminded you of the scum politicians and the sweetheart deals they get with banks and with mortgage companies specifically, and Chris Dodd and his corruption with Barney Frank and Joe Biden with Countrywide, which I believe was right out of the Chicago playbook of cut me in or cut it out. And they gave sweetheart deals to all the political suck-ons. And I want to remind you, when we talk about this, people think, oh, it's not that big of a deal. 9% of the mortgages, 9% tore down the entire economy in 2008 and 9. That's it. And they perpetrated a real trick. There was a lot of scandal that went on. And nobody went to jail, by the way. Nobody went to jail. Between the rating agencies that lied, mostly they were owned by mortgage companies or hedge funds, about the risk in crooked mortgages to two-bit whore politicians like Letitia James and Chris Dodd and the rest of it, and how they packaged it with investments and insurance companies and hedge funds and all different kinds of people believed that rating, and they were lied to. Nobody went to jail from the rating agencies. Nobody went to jail from the mortgage companies. Countrywide, the brothers had a problem, but they should have been in jail years ago before. Who gives a rip about that? They were in bed with the Democrat mafia forever. So when I play this about Letitia, the lipstick that's being put on the pig of her fraud, of her financial crime, is astonishing. But it's also the same fraud that was moved towards Donald Trump's case that Letitia ran on.
In all likelihood, I suspect that he will pardon his family members, his children, his son-in-law, and individuals in his administration, as well as some of his close associates. And then I suspect at some point in time, he will step down and allow the vice president to pardon him. Now, it's important to understand.
brought a case. Yeah, let's listen.
He is pardoned from federal crimes, but he is not pardoned from state crimes. Last year, I introduced a bill in the state legislature which would close the pardon loophole so that individuals such as the President of the United States would not evade justice. It's important that we have this check on presidential powers.
You mean like that dimwit in diapers is doing right now, or the rest of his crooked rat family and all the pardons that came out from the auto pen? But aside from that, there was never a plaintiff in the Trump case. Never. No lender, no insurance company. There was never a plaintiff. He was just, unfortunately, a target of how crooked Democrat areas are. You get it before a crooked rat judge, you could do anything, right? That was always the case.
Trump did acknowledge that there could have been a mistake on his financial statement when it came to the value of his Trump Tower apartment, but he said that's why his statements included disclaimer clauses. Quote, there's a disclaimer clause where you don't have to get sued by the Attorney General of New York. Is that in any way a legitimate defense?
No, the judge already found it wasn't. They said...
Crooked rat, fish-faced judge found it. Democrat, as always. But that's not the case with Letitia. Letitia, her evidence was not brought by Donald Trump. It was brought by a forensic accountant who was watching this and said, you know, his name is Sam Antar. I don't like the way this woman is charging a crime when there isn't a plaintiff. So he took a little dive into just her paperwork that is in the public arena.
All right, to further discuss, let's bring in the financial forensic accountant who led the investigation into Letitia James's mortgage fraud. Forensic accountant Sam Antar. Sam, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me on, Lydia.
How does it feel after all this hard work? You poured through all the documents. It took a long time. You posted this. You posted the document trail on social media. You're saying that this case is pretty cut and dry. Of course, Tish James is saying that this is weaponization of the federal government. Your thoughts? I know you said this is just the beginning.
Yes, this is just the beginning. There's a lot of hard work left to do. First of all, what they did was they indicted her on her Peroni Avenue property, not the property that you put up on the screen over there. The Peroni Avenue property she purchased in 2020. When I was looking at her financial disclosures, I noticed that the property had no mortgage in 2020, 2021, and 2022. And all of a sudden, in 2023, in her financial disclosures to New York State, 2 mortgages appear exceeding the value of her property by 200%.
That's exactly what she accused Trump of. 200% of what the value is, and somehow this fat, manly, 3-foot-ass crack simpleton was able to get 2 mortgages for the total of 200%. How is that even possible?
So what I did was I went backwards and I pulled up the title report. And what I found was the 2 properties that the 2 mortgages she claimed on the property weren't in the property records. But the mortgage that she used to buy the property, which is the subject of the indictment, was not disclosed on our financial disclosures from 2020 when she purchased the property to 2023. Now, when I finally got the documents with the title report, I looked at the mortgage and it said it was supposed to be her secondary residence, not an investment property. Now, the feds have her tax returns. You can look at paragraph 10 or section 10 of the indictment. It says that she showed income in 2020 and that she used it as a rental property, contrary to what she said to the bank. It was going to be a second home for her. But here's where we're going to break news today. All right. In her financial disclosures to New York State, she showed income on the property in 2020. However, she did not show any income on the property in 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024. If the feds, and if you're listening to me today, have her Schedule E for 2021 through 2024, and it shows income, she committed mail fraud on the state of New York because she did not disclose that income in her financial filings and ethics filings with New York State.
So that's why you're saying this is just the beginning. So this whole narrative that the news that even Tish James, I'm seeing Democrat leaders spinning that President Trump is the one that did this to her. Who is responsible?
No. I did this to her, okay? I was examining her financial filings with New York State, and as any forensic accountant would do, I worked backwards. To a property filings, and then I reported it to the feds, as any responsible forensic accountant would do.
Remember that, because you're going to hear the exact opposite for the next 48 hours of the weekend. By the time it's over, 3 foot of ass crack, Letitia James, she'll be the victim. Tomas, Blue Island.
Hey, Shaun, part of what's wonderful about Trump world are the amazing women, the Pam Bondis, the Ivanka Trumps, the Caroline Levitts, the Kayleigh McEnany's. Well, the U.S. attorney on this Letitia James case, this evil, fat, ugly pig, is
I'm pretty sure that was her sorority nickname. Go ahead.
Lindsay Halligan. And about 10 years ago, she was the third runner-up for Miss Colorado. And I got to know where Trump finds all these beautiful women.
He owned the Miss America pageant. Remember that? I think that's where he gets it. But nonetheless, it's an amazing thing when you take a look at what we're looking at. I mean, not for nothing, but these are some rough-looking people. I mean, if it's not just Letitia, who would scare Mean Joe Green. I mean, he's old now, but she'd scare the dung out of him. There's that Katie Porter in California.
If we don't electrify our transportation sector, that we're going to lose more than 500,000 Californians dying prematurely to air pollution and other problems. And the state could lose. Get out of my shot.
I wanted to tell you that.
This is why you should have never gave Shirley Temple steroids and introduced her to an all-you-can-eat countrywide buffet. And then there's the other one. Spanberger.
During last night's heated debate, Abigail Spanberger, the Democrat candidate for Virginia governor, faced repeated questioning over her continued support for Attorney General candidate Jay Jones after text messages surfaced in which he fantasized about putting, quote, 2 bullets in the head of...
He's a peculiar-looking fella, too. Did you see him? You know what it is, Squirrel? It's the soul. It's not the outer appearance, because if you look at him, maybe they're not throw up in your mouth ugly. But it's the soul that makes them ugly. The fact that they stand there, lie, right to everybody's face, like Spanberger, who looks like a Nick Nolte on a Saturday morning around 6 a.m.
Then Republican Virginia House Speaker Todd Gilbert. Watch this.
Will you continue to endorse Jay Jones to be the next Attorney General of Virginia?
So the public was unaware who had knowledge of these text messages for many hours.
What did you do about
I learned of these text messages the day that they came out, and I denounced them as soon as I learned of them.
What you're saying is that as of now, you still endorse Jay Jones as Attorney General?
I'm saying as of now, it's up to every voter to make their own individual decision.
And that's not going to deter one welfare roach. They're going to vote Democrat regardless of the text messages. I'm just more impressed that they continue to vote for the ugliest people in our society today. And in there lies the real issue. And now when you cross over and you talk about the lawyers, whether it's Mark Elias, who looks like he's 80,
to be pursued, perhaps have their house raided, and if they can find a bare minimum of a grand jury quorum anywhere, they will get indicted. And the days of the Department of Justice and the rules that everyone keeps citing to me, well, the rules of this, rules of that, those rules, that rule book is gone. Okay, those rules are gone. This is a president who believes he controls the Department of Justice and he decides who's...
Well, maybe it's that law should be enforced, you thief, you fraud, you moron shyster. And it's funny when you look at the things that this guy is attached to. He's attached to PACs. He's attached to politicians. Mark Elias is attached to a tremendous amount of skullduggery when it came to this election theft of 2020. We're not going to pretend that that was anything other than the election theft. But one thing you have to understand is all of these areas, what their big fear is that the rule of law will be enforced. That's all it is. It's against the law to perpetrate fraud, perpetrate mortgage fraud, to perpetrate mail fraud, to perpetrate all kinds of fraud. It's all against the law. And that's what your big fear is. Proving, again, who you represent. Who do you really represent? You represent the criminals, the party of the cartels, the party of the domestic terrorist organizations.
But Kamala Harris encouraged Americans to donate to the so-called Minnesota Freedom Fund. You know what that is? Which bailed out the rioters, looters, assaulters, and anarchists from jail. And Biden's staff did the same thing. They donated a lot of their money to get them out of jail so that everyone was right back on the streets. Think of that. This is what is running for office. This is what we're competing against. And the primary competitor, Joe, he's in his basement. He just doesn't come out. They don't ask him questions. I said, I wish they asked him a couple about 2 months ago. It was like, hey, hi, are you enjoying your run?
Well, that's because the Democrat mafia can get a moron, whether it's in New York, an Islamo-Nazi communist moron, whether it's Chicago, bust out on a water payment plan, whether it's California, the son of a lawyer who worked for an oil magnate multi-billionaire, and now he's running on the climate. They can get anybody elected. And the reason is there's a lot of money in corruption, a tremendous amount of money in corruption.
You remember that back in June when riots inspired by the death of George Floyd were destroying America's cities, particularly its low-income communities, Kamala Harris was working to help the instigators, the criminals, get out of jail. She tweeted this, quote, "If you're able to, chip in now to the Minnesota Freedom Fund to help post bail for those protesting on the ground in Minnesota." The Minnesota Freedom Fund, what's that? Well, it's apparently a nonprofit. It's received tens of millions of dollars since this summer, thanks in part to the support of people like Kamala Harris.
The reason I play this is because this is how they do the pass-throughs to finance domestic terrorists. There are consequences to this.
Twice convicted rapist, currently charged with kidnapping and sexual assault, and he walks out too.
The Freedom Fund raked in donations when it was promoted by many, including now Vice President Kamala Harris.
Sean Michael Tillman shot and killed a passenger on a train platform after reportedly being released from jail 3 weeks prior. All thanks to the Minnesota Freedom Fund.
Donovan Boone was charged with breaking into the home of an ex-girlfriend and choking her. Freedom Fund.
So now this is getting linked to Antifa, and other terrorist organizations are getting linked to Antifa. So now it comes time to run interference.
You understand, there's no Antifa. This is an entirely imaginary organization. There is not an Antifa. This is no different than if they announced they rounded up a dozen Decepticons. We've captured the Chupacabra, everyone. And then it was Trump's turn to ratchet up the rhetoric with fiery images conjured from no one has any idea where.
Rutgers students have launched a petition calling for Professor Mark Bray to be fired, citing his ties to Antifa and his book on militant anti-fascism. The petition argues Bray's promotion of political violence and his Antifa handbook threaten conservative students on campus. Bray, an assistant professor and author, has previously discussed Antifa tactics, drawing criticism from institutions like Dartmouth.
He says once this executive order starts to be unfolded, he hopes they look into some of these organizations who are funding this, saying one of the international groups that actually pays these terrorists in the United States is called the International Antifa Defense Fund. They operate fundraising campaigns on Patreon, Fundraiser, and the Action Net. Where does this money come from? How does it make its way in? Militant Antifa activist and Rutgers assistant professor Mark Bay donates proceeds from his Antifa handbook to the group. So they buy his book and he gives the money back to the terrorists. So that's interesting.
So you're going to hear this weekend, Letitia James is the victim of Donald Trump versus the perpetrator of financial crimes. And then you'll hear there's no Antifa sissies pretending to be anti-fascists when they're implementing the terrorism of the fascists called American Democrats.
A Rutgers University history professor who's written multiple books about Antifa says he's moving out of the country after receiving multiple death threats, including to his home. Professor Mark Bray notified students this week that his courses will move online as he relocates to Europe with his family for safety.
So it was the death threats that he got. I said, boy, that doesn't sound real to me. I mean, if you want to talk about death threats, you could go to an Antifa 400-pound white woman leaving a death threat to the head of ICE in Chicago.
Hey, I'm just calling to say, assuming you're married to
And with a last name like that, I don't know how you let your husband work for ICE and you sleep at night. You, your family. I hope your kids get deported by accident. How do you sleep? You. Did you hear what happened to the Nazis after World War II? Because that's what's going to happen to your family.
That's what's being left to ICE capo here in Illinois. And it's funny when you think about what they're protecting. I mean, after all, everybody knew Chicago was the city of iniquity. But more importantly, who ran it? The cartels, the drug dealers, the gangs, and the scum.
During the entire Iraq War, there was on average, unfortunately, 435 combat deaths per year. During the Afghanistan War, there was on average 141 combat deaths per year. All tragic. American blood and treasure. Between 2018 and 2022, when Kim Foxx was the state's attorney, the DA in Chicago, there was an average of 660 murders per year. So there are parts of Chicago that are much more dangerous than war zones. And there is no defense to that.
No, there is a defense to it. By the criminals who profit from it, called politicians. That's who will defend it over and over.
What we imagine would happen is that they have to decide whether or not they're going to follow the judge's ruling. The judge made it very clear that there was no credibility from the Trump administration, that this was, to me, in so many ways, as I've been saying, a manufactured crisis.
Lieutenant Governor, who answers the question, what would Gregory Hines look like if he shaved his mustache? We'll be back.
He believes in freedom, capitalism, and individual liberty. And because of that, he's become an enemy of the state. He's Shaun Thompson, and this is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
You've heard me talk about Northridge for years, but now I want you to hear from one of their recent graduates, TJ Gorman, who just graduated second in his class in Marine Corps basic training. This is what he said. I was blessed to attend Northridge not only for the education, but for the values and principles my mentors instilled within me. The school taught us what it meant to be a leader and lead through example, hard work, humility, and empathy. I thank God for Northridge. That's what makes Northridge Prep great for young men. The students are called to excellence to become true leaders. And these boys want to go to school each day. They love Northridge because they can be free to learn, to grow, and to be challenged. There's a real spirit of adventure on campus that you've just got to experience for yourself. For nearly 50 years, they've partnered with parents like no other school in the Chicagoland area. Today, in our nation, we need more Northridge graduates to lead the way as men of intellect and character who love God. Guys like TJ Gorman, men who put their values first. Their open house is Sunday, October 19th at 1 p.m. for boys in grades 6 through 12. Register at northridgeprep.org. northridgeprep.org.
You need to be tuning into the Retirement Success Blueprint with Michael Stewart, the radio companion to the Amazon best-selling book, Success Blueprint, How to Build the Retirement You Deserve. Each week, Michael shares strategies designed to help reduce market risk through income-generating investments that can provide steady returns. Because if you can avoid a big loss, you don't need to take big risks. Catch the Retirement Success Blueprint with Michael Stewart, Saturday mornings at 10, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Honey, what's for dinner?
Honestly, nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Because every time I need a pan, I have to unload half the kitchen first.
It's like Jenga, but with casserole dishes.
Exactly. And I always lose.
At Forever Remodeling, we create kitchens that fit your life, not the other way around. From smart storage to stunning finishes, start cooking in a kitchen built just for you. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com.
It's funny, inflation can show its ugly head in a lot of places, and in some cases, it can actually put money in your pocket. It's called inflation, but what it really is the destruction of your dollar. The inflation hedges aren't just gold and silver in the stock market. It might be something you have in your garage, in your basement, or in your attic. It might be something that brought you pride when your grandfather gave it to you from World War II. It might have been his flight jacket. It might have been a weapon. We have the solution to find out all the answers. You can call 815-923-7000. The number again is 815-923-7000. You're calling Donnelly Auctions. 5 decades of experience to tell you what items you're proud of, whether they're in your garage or in your driveway. They'll do cars and boats and motorcycles, in your basement or in your attic, or if it's something that your grandfather left you. Clothing from the military. Tremendous value right now. and weapons, as they are a state and federal licensed arms dealer at Donley Auctions. Go to DonleyAuctions.com to get an idea of all of the pieces that museum is interested in buying and all of the things they sell. You can also acquire a collection at DonleyAuctions.com. DonleyAuctions.com is a way to offset inflation, and it's tangible. Now, if you're closing a business and you may have a fixture that you're proud of, it might be an old barber pole, might be worth a tremendous amount of money. If it's a cigar store Indian, Randy Donley may break your heart, but he'll tell you the truth of what it's worth with his 5 decades of experience. Check it all out for yourself at DonleyAuctions.com. That's DonleyAuctions.com. If you prefer to call him, it's 815-923-7000. Tell him I sent you. When we get back, we're going to have a surprise from E.J. Antoni. It was busy this first half hour, but that's all right, because we'll take that knowledge, we'll take that expertise, we'll take that integrity and honesty at any time we can get it with E.J. Antoni when we get back.
Okay, Shaun, thank you. Good afternoon. We're hanging in there at 65 degrees in Chicago in the AM 560 newsroom on AM 560, The Answer. A district court issuing a temporary block on the Trump administration's deployment of the National Guard. State AG Kwame Raoul supports the move made by Biden appointee Judge April Perry.
She made the correct decision to enter a temporary restraining order.
As gas prices fall across Illinois, state and local governments may see a decrease in revenue from fuel and sales taxes. Experts say the effect on overall state finances is limited.
According to Gas Buddy, local prices in some areas have dropped as low as $2.99 per gallon. Despite these declines, Illinois Policy Institute analyst Dylan Sharkey said the impact on state revenue is minimal.
Road fund revenue in Illinois is not an issue. The state regularly brings in more than it spends in terms of the road fund, and Illinois see it every year on July 1st. They notice their gas taxes go up automatically.
Sharkey noted that Illinois doubled its gas tax in 2019, and state lawmakers maintain substantial reserves, currently around $3 billion, while continuing to discuss additional revenue measures.
And we're the second highest in the nation, behind only California.
I'm Katrina Barker.
News is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. If you've been getting high quotes for dental implants with medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com, making smiles great again. More news due up at the top of the hour, 6 o'clock. Continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. Let's head now to the traffic center. Checking the roads on this Friday, Jill or Jack.
On the Kennedy, downtown to O'Hare, 1 hour, no troubles going out on the Edens. The outbound Eisenhower is just under an hour. Post office to 390 Stevenson, 50 minutes to Saba Lakeshore Drive to the Veterans Memorial Tollway. Outbound Dan Ryan, 25 minutes. Skyway, Ford, 57, all clear. It remains heavy along DuSable Lakeshore Drive either way. Scattered delays with a lot of that due to marathon closures at Grant Park. There are tie-ups both directions along the Tri-State and the Jane Addams, along with the Reagan and 355. Traffic is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Have you been getting high quotes for dental implants? With medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com. Making smiles great again. From the AM 560, The Answer Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies with a low of 51. Tomorrow brings abundant sunshine and a high of 64. Tomorrow night will be mostly clear with a low of 53. Sunday will be partly sunny and pleasant, reaching a high of 69. On Monday, anticipate a mix of sun and clouds with a chance of a shower in spots during the afternoon with a high of 75. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Get your tickets for Freedom Summit Chicago 2025, happening on Saturday, November 8th in Weston, Chicago, Northwest, and Itasca. This year, featuring Dr. Ben Carson, Scott Jennings, Mike Gallagher, along with Dan Proft, Shaun Thompson, John Anthony, and many more. This event will sell out fast, so get your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Lutheran Life Communities, Virago, and by Senior Helpers of Naperville.
Protect your liver and give it the support it deserves with Active Liver from New Nordic. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or at newnordicusa.com.
Family fun is back at Go-Bert's Farm in Pingree Grove. For over 40 years, Go-Bert's is Chicagoland's family destination for fall fun. Come experience new rides, a huge corn play box, train adventure, farm animals, and our famous pumpkin-eating dinosaur.
This was the most fun day ever. My parents were there, my kids were there. There was a pumpkin patch, a maze, a haunted house, slides, a train, a fresh market, and there was so much more. I loved it.
It's a family tradition for us to visit Go-Bert's. The pumpkins are great, the attractions are fun, and the apple cider donuts are to die for.
Loved it, and almost all the activities were free. My kids had a blast.
And the kids say,
my mom loves the homemade caramel apple.
I have to say, the pumpkin cannon is cool.
They got a pumpkin-eating dinosaur. The live giraffe is really cool.
I love the jumping pillow and the pumpkin express train ride.
Go-Bert's Farm in Pingree Grove. Pick apples, visit the pumpkin patch, explore the park, and just have fun. Go to GoBirds.com to purchase tickets now. That's GoBirds.com. Go-Birds, harvesting family memories.
Making the switch to a new communications and IT company may seem like a big ordeal, but if you're not getting the reliable support, consistent internet, and secure solutions your company needs, meet Access One, your local Chicagoland IT experts. Access One has been powering Chicago businesses with secure, reliable IT solutions for over 30 years from our headquarters right here in the West Loop. Whether it's VoIP phones, dedicated internet, managed cybersecurity, cloud backups, or 24/7 support, Access One is here for you. Serving thousands of companies from Naperville to the North Shore, Access One is Chicago-owned and Chicago-run, a trusted IT partner for law firms, clinics, tech startups to manufacturers. We'll make the switch easier than you think. Let's talk. Call 800-804-8333 or visit accessoneinc.com. Rated top 5% in customer satisfaction and a Better Business Bureau A+ rated business. That's accessoneinc.com. Tech made personal locally.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Today, 15 recipients of the Nobel Prize in Economics released a letter in support of the president's Build Back Better plan,
including 4 Nobel Prize winners recently highlighted in an open letter.
17 Nobel laureates who have conveyed this will help address inflation.
14 Nobel laureates.
17, 14, 13, all of them full of dung. My next guest, however, is a doctor of economics, chief economist, and the Richard Astor Fellow at the Heritage Foundation. He is E.J. Antoni. How are you, handsome?
Shaun, I am doing well. I got to say, though, before hopping on here, I'm listening to your show, and I'm hearing your read for Donnelly Auctions. You're talking about stuff your grandfather left you that protects you against inflation. And here I am right now wearing my late grandfather's gold pocket watch that he got for himself when he got back from World War II. So I'm sitting here thinking he's talking to me.
Yeah, I am talking to you, but think about this. Gold is at $4,000 an ounce. And years ago, when it broke $400, people said, oh, my word, this is we better focus on the economy. And now there is an entire group of morons in our country that want the government to spend more money, print more debt, ignoring all the signs of not just a weak dollar, but an economy with major cracks in it. When silver is $50, the poor Hunt brothers lost billions in fines for trying to make it go to 40. Look at what's going on here.
Well, exactly. And what's really scary is the number of people, Shaun, who basically are telling us today that we need to do all of the things that got us here in order to fix the problem. In other words, throw gasoline on the fire. It's the same kind of garbage. You just played those clips, those Nobel laureates endorsing all of this runaway spending and everything by the government as if that's going to fix inflation. These people, they never learned their lesson, and yet we throw all these honors at them for essentially doing absolutely nothing. Meanwhile, if you do something, if you do, for example, bring peace to the Middle East, you can't get a peace prize for that. It's absolutely astonishing.
Well, it goes to show you how full of dung the whole system is. But when you see these guys win awards, they don't win awards for actually doing anything. They win awards for promoting the idea that collectivist finances, government-run top-down economies are the answer. There's only been one that I know of that ever won an award because he actually did do something, and that's Milton Friedman, as he turned around Chile from a depression to a successful economy. And yet they ignore at the turn every benefit of Adam Smith's laissez-faire capitalism. So to me, when you're winning awards, it's because you're promoting idiots who lie to you and sell your lie. And that's what a Keynesian is. That's what government economics is. That's why they ignore the fact that just Joe Biden and Barack Obama added $18 trillion to the debt. And if you look at what happened to our debt from the year 2004, 90% of it is accumulated through government spending.
Right, exactly, Shaun. And it's particularly scary when you see such a clear connection, for example, between what government is spending, overspending, right, and the amount of inflation that we have in this country. People will chalk up, the devaluation of the dollar to everything from supply chains to the war in the Ukraine. You name it, they will come up with another excuse. They will somehow figure out how all of these completely unrelated things are somehow related. They will find anything or anyone to blame for their failures other than themselves. And getting back to your point, Shaun, on all these different academics, look, at the end of the day, follow the money. Who is financing all of this so-called academic research? Who is financing these folks? Who is paying for them to conduct this fake research, quite frankly? And
government.
They're all people who, right, exactly. They're all people who have a vested interest in the system continuing as is, not being reformed.
So here's the beauty of what Trump is doing. He's trying to thread the needle. You and I have talked about it, right? He's trying to grow the private sector while restraining the public. And that's fantastic up until this shutdown system, because when you look at the damage that could be done, it isn't just that Obamacare fraud subsidies can continue and ignore the reality of what Barack Obama did to our health care, destroying the quality of it and driving up the cost exponentially, 400% in just premiums. But when you really look at what's happening, it's to promote and continue the COVID fraud money to the gangster areas like Illinois, like Chicago, like New York. That's what we're really discussing. What these idiots in Washington, D.C. want to do is continue to enrich the worst and the most corrupt areas by continuing the COVID money. They're not talking about removing it. They're talking about keeping it there and increasing it by the 3% kicker and the baseline budgeting that exists. And nobody talks about it, not even Republicans. The fraud is outrageous to me, isn't it?
Oh, Shaun, 100%. You're spot on, as always. At the end of the day, what this fight is really about is finally upending the status quo. It's about saying, no, we're not going to do business as usual anymore, because business as usual has been, as you know, fraudulent. It's not really business. It's all a scam. Look at the fit that the Democrats threw, for example, when we talked on your show months ago, when the big, beautiful bill fight was still going on. And there was that provision in there that was going to end, finally, part of the Medicare or Medicaid fraud, where hospitals get reimbursed for spending, except they get reimbursed at a multiple of what they spend. And that's why these hospitals say, hey, we love participating in this program, even though on paper it costs us money, because in reality we get back from the government more than we actually have to pay in. And so, again...
Mafia hospitals.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly, Shaun. And so, again, that's why I say this whole shutdown fight, and we saw the reductions in force that Russ Vought is rolling out today. This whole fight is about exactly that, upending the status quo.
So you want to hear what's amazing to me, right? Because you saw all these welfare roach hospitals in the Chicagoland area cry about it, but nobody said a word when Barack Obama implemented Obamacare, and we as a nation lost 50% of the hospitals and 50% of the doctors. It's amazing, the selective outrage. How dare you take away our mafia hospitals? Because these are the hospitals that were overbilling everybody and everything for treating the drug addict, the sloth, and the welfare roach. This is the big thing that needs to be exposed. But I don't hear anybody talking about what Barack Obama really did. He expanded Medicare to become the single-payer system that all of these communist morons wanted, because you can have imbecile doctors and mafia hospitals robbing you in perpetuity. And the good doctors left, or they became concierge medicine, or they went in a different direction that really is the separation of the quality of health care. And it never is talked about. That's what aggravates me. Why aren't the Republicans explaining what Barack Obama did to destroy and change forever the trajectory and the quality of American health care?
Why aren't they explaining it? Well, to answer your question, Shaun, probably because most of them don't understand it. But I think you also just hit on something really important when you use the word quality. A lot of more, I guess you could call them conservative economists, they really ended up with egg on their face, because when Obamacare was going through the whole, sausage making process, if you will, through Congress, a lot of them had predicted, this is going to cause shortages. It's going to cause shortages of drugs. It's going to cause shortages of doctors and other kinds of health care, because you're going to put on all these price controls and you're going to embed all this other corruption and fraud into the system, and you're going to push literally millions of people onto Medicare. Like you said, Shaun, it's their way to try to get us to that single payer system. And what actually happened, though, was not a reduction in quantity, but a reduction in quality. In other words, you still had the same availability in terms of quantity when it came to drugs or doctors, except the quality went down. We had to reduce the acceptable standards, for example, on generic drugs from China, so that we could make sure we were having enough coming in so that we wouldn't have shortages. But there was still a decrease in terms of overall consumer welfare. And that's something that I think we really have to continue to hammer home on.
All one has to do is monitor the deaths in the country before and after, and the life expectancy, which is outrageous. Here we are, we pretend we have the greatest health care. Really? You're better off in a third world country never going to a doctor than you are going to a Democrat doctor. That should be how we open up the conversation of it, because they just keep promoting more money, higher costs to more scumbags and frauds and idiots who keep destroying the quality of the healthcare system itself. And it's funny, because the insurance companies, their profitability, the ones that stayed in business, skyrocketed along with the premiums, didn't it?
Exactly, Shaun. It's exactly right. And so it's amazing how what all of these fraudulent programs do is they have this kind of barbell distribution, if you will. Who do they benefit? Folks on the really low end and folks on the really high end. So the welfare roaches, if you will, are the ones who get all of these different benefits. But who's actually making the profit? It's only the vested special interests who were already big and profitable and had a lot of money to begin with. That's how these schemes enrich those two ends of the income distribution, if you will. Meanwhile, middle America, the average Joe, is the one who's left picking up the tab. He's the one who has to pay higher hospital bills to make up for all of these costs elsewhere. He's the one who pays more for prescription drugs. He's the one who has to pay more for the doctor visit, because it's harder for him to actually find a doctor who's willing to take his insurance, for example. Yeah. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. It's fast approaching socialized medicine, as you know, Shaun.
Oh, of course. It already is. It's always been the goal, and that's why I have an NDD, not an NDR. Not a do not resuscitate, a no Democrat doctor. I don't care where I am. Don't ever bring me to a frickin' Democrat. And if the paramedic is a Democrat, let me bleed out in a parking lot. Just let me go. I don't want to be treated by these imbeciles. And when you look at the fraud, and it's always about the money. Always about the money. So I am shocked that it took this long. I believe the Republicans will cave, and I'm going to tell you what my indicator is. The very same scumbag Republican who was willing to have the entire country subjugated to a tax increase. The entire country, he was willing to do it unless the New York mafia state didn't get its SALT increase so that they could pretend that they're not the bust-out state they are, the corrupt bust-out. And that's Mike Lawler, a Republican. Now, he confronts jazz hands, or Timu Obama, whatever you want to call Hakeem Jeffries, to pretend to put up a big argument. And it's nauseating to me to watch that, because these are two House members. It's already through the House. Why are these imbeciles putting on this theater and not educating their constituents as to why we're in this pickle? And if it doesn't change and we don't rip out this fraud, we're just pushing it to oblivion.
Well, Shaun, because it's not their area of expertise. You know, it's that people do what they know how to do at the end of the day. These politicians, you know, what are they experts in? They're experts in getting elected. You know, sometimes they have success in the private sector before they get elected. So sometimes you might have, you know, a successful attorney or a successful doctor or you know, a successful business owner who then goes into politics. But for a lot of these folks, that's not the case. They were never successful in the private sector, and a lot of them were simply successful in politics. So they know how to get elected. They know how to be theatrical. That's all they know, and so that's what they do. They don't know how to educate, for example. They don't know how to explain these concepts. They don't understand the concepts themselves. Scarily, a lot of times they don't understand the legislation on which they're going to vote. They do what their staff advises them to do. And so that's why I think a lot of times you see this kind of political theater instead of actual good work being done, because they don't know how to do the good work. All they know is the theater.
Morons. Here's the other thing I want to mention to you, because I see I saw you on Varney. You looked very handsome. You had the gold with the gold on the handkerchief, very stunning. And I see you're going to go on sneakers with the $6,000 suit, whose name is escaping me right now.
Charles Payne.
Charles Payne with the $6,000 suit with the sneakers. I don't know how he does it, but he seems to be happy in it. I used to do factoring years and years ago when I was 21 years old. My first company was factoring. All right. And I am telling you something right now. When you start to see those factoring numbers and big-name businesses start to sell their receivables, start to take a cut on their receivables, there's a problem in banking. You bring that up to them, and then if they ever ask if they want me on, you tell them, yeah, but I'm smoking cigars. Okay?
I will, Shaun, and trust me, the weird fluctuations we're seeing in things like inventories, you're absolutely right. These are numbers we got to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I don't like it. There's somebody in the closet, and it isn't the boogeyman. In the meantime, I will always keep my eye on Heritage and always keep an eye out for you. EJ, you know you're one of my favorites. Thank you very much for making time for me. I know you're busy.
Thanks for having me, Shaun.
Thank you, brother. We'll be back after this.
At AlmostFreeTeeth.com, they're dedicated to making smiles great again. If you have medical PPO insurance, find out how you could save 90% off on average to get a beautiful dental implant-supported smile. Check if you qualify right now at AlmostFreeTeeth.com.
Hi, my name is Dr. Michael Huber. During cold and flu season, a nearby cough or sneeze can trigger a familiar dread, that helpless feeling of being defenseless against an invisible viral threat. But what if you could change the narrative? What if you could fortify your body's natural defenses? This is why I developed Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail designed to give your body the upper hand. Virago is more than a supplement. It's a revolutionary liquid formula packed with 23 powerful natural nutraceuticals for rapid absorption. This unique blend is scientifically crafted to help build resilience and keep you protected. Don't just hope for good health. Make it happen with Virago. Virago and Maha, making America healthy again.
Virago. Order your bottle today online at myvirago.com and use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. myvirago.com. Coupon code IMMUNE.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
You know what really keeps me up at night? It's the criminals feel more and more bold. They have no fear of any consequences because there are none. So I did what anyone with a family should do. I called Goldilocks. They're not just some cookie-cutter security company. Goldilocks has been protecting Chicagoland homes and businesses for 4 decades, 40 years. And they actually listen. Their technician comes out to the house. He takes a look at what you need to make your house a smart home with a security system you can monitor from anywhere. It's built specifically for me and my family. Motion sensors, smart locks, cameras, monitoring, all customized. I don't trust anybody in Illinois to protect my family. I do it, and I did it by calling Goldilocks. I trust Goldilocks to keep my house, my property, and my family safe. Tell them Shaun Thompson sent you, and Goldilocks will include 3 months free monitoring with any new installation. Call Goldilocks at 708-899-5600. That's 708-899-5600. Or visit them online at GoldilocksInc.com.
A large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving MyPillow with a ton of extra MyPillows. But you know what? That's their loss and your gain. MyPillow is offering the Classic Collection for wholesale prices. Only $19.98 for a standard MyPillow. But it gets even better. For a limited time, they're going to offer the entire Classic Collection at wholesale prices. Get queen-size MyPillows for just $24.98. Upgrade to king-size for only $29.98. Get the body pillows for $39.98. And the multi-use MyPillows for only $12.98. So go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 to take advantage of wholesale pricing and receive $100 in free digital gifts when your order is $75 or more. That's right. Get the standard MyPillow for only $19.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. That number again is 800-489-0201. Promo code LIBERTY.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
It's not just the debt ceiling, it's reality. If we do not grow, this country is going the way of the Weimar Republic. And it's not me saying it. It's wicked smart people like my next guest, who is the president of American Commitment and the Commitment to Unleash Prosperity. Spent his time as a research analyst for the Club for Growth, the Cato Institute, Enterprise Fund. We'll be joined by Phil Kerpen to discuss exactly how we can grow out of it by recognizing the fraud after Foxweiser.
Putting the pressure on China. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump announcing there could be a 100% import tax on goods from China after President Xi Jinping placed export controls on rare earths. But he's not ruling out meeting with Xi when he travels to Asia.
We're going to have to see what happens. That's why I made it November 1st.
The president saying the U.S. could put import controls on Boeing plane parts as part of Washington's response to China if it comes to that. On the Israel-Hamas ceasefire, the president said he will be traveling to Israel and address its parliament and will also travel to Egypt. He was asked about the plan for government in Gaza once Hamas withdraws.
We're also setting up, as you know, a board of peace. It's called the Board of Peace. I don't know if that's the final name, but the word peace is definitely in there. They have asked me if I chair it. We'll make sure things go well.
The first phase of the deal has started with a ceasefire. The president saying that's when Hamas will begin releasing hostages. Multiple people have been killed, others missing following an explosion at a manufacturing plant in Tennessee.
Humphreys County Sheriff Chris Davis said there were fatalities, but he wouldn't say exactly how many as they look for the missing. He said the Accurate Energetic Systems Company buildings are completely gone.
Trying to figure out and recreate or figure out what actually happened to cause this. Do I see a short-term explanation? No.
He said it's one of the most devastating sights he's seen in his career. Accurate Energetic Systems specializes in the creation of high-grade explosives for demolition and is located about an hour west of Nashville.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal, the attorney for a U.S. citizen in Portland, Oregon, says his client was taken off the street and held in an ICE facility for hours. The attorney for Francisco Miranda says he told officers he was born in California but was struck from behind and put in an unmarked vehicle that took him to the ICE facility before being driven back to work. America's listening to Fox News.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
23 minutes on the outbound Edens, the Kennedy 50 minutes, downtown out to the airport, and the Eisenhower going out 55, post office to 390. Stevenson out 50 minutes, heavy from the Ryan to Pulaski's, the bulk of that delay. And then we have problems on DuSable Lakeshore Drive either way, where traffic is very heavy. Some closures through Grant Park due to a marathon. Southbound side of the Tri-State, an accident at the Jane Addams in the right lane, another at the Hinsdale Oasis that is also in the right lane. And then westbound Reagan, a car fire in the right lane at Winfield, and delays up and down 355. This traffic update is quickly delivered to you by Quick Delivery Service. Why are you sitting in Friday traffic? Time is money. When you need your important items delivered quickly, Quick Delivery Service will be there to pick it up and take it to its destination. Go to quickdelivery.com. From the AM 560 The Answer Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchek.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies with a low of 51. Tomorrow, enjoy abundant sunshine with a high of 64. Tomorrow night will be mostly clear with a low of 53. Sunday will bring a mix of sun and clouds, creating pleasant conditions with a high of 69. On Monday, anticipate a blend of sun and clouds, possibly accompanied by isolated showers in the afternoon. The high will reach 75. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Get your tickets for Freedom Summit Chicago 2025, happening on Saturday, November 8th at Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. This year, featuring Dr. Ben Carson, Scott Jennings, Mike Gallagher, along with Dan Proft, Shaun Thompson, John Anthony, and many more. This event will sell out fast, so get your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Nauman and Associates, Scott Tucker Solutions Incorporated, and by Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation honors the sacrifices of America's heroes. Heroes like U.S. Army Specialist Andy Keith Kingsley. Andy was part of the 82nd Airborne Division. He received various awards and decorations, including a Purple Heart. While deployed, Andy was catastrophically injured in combat. Andy and his family received a mortgage-free smart home from Tunnel to Towers. But many more heroes like Andy need your support. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. That's T2T.org.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/Mike.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for. For this free information, call 800-422-1609, 800-422-1609, 800-422-1609, or simply visit godra.com.
It's hard to find a nursing home where Christ-centered care is provided. For over 130 years, Lutheran Life has served the needs of seniors at the Lutheran Home in Arlington Heights. With chaplains on full-time duty, the Lutheran Home provides spiritual support as your loved ones confront the hard realities of aging. Our nurses will care for your bodies, and our chaplains will care for your souls. Find out how by visiting LutheranLifeCommunities.org today. That's LutheranLifeCommunities.org.
Dinesh D'Souza went into a war zone to make his new film, revealing never-before-seen footage of October 7th. The film offers a new way to understand Israel, radical Islam, anti-Semitism, and biblical prophecy.
Could the fate of the world be tied to this place?
The Dragon's Prophecy, based on Jonathan Cahn's international bestseller. Watch it now or buy the DVD at salemnow.com. That's salemnow.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Get top dollar for guns and military items. DonleyAuctions.com.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government with a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other. He's Shaun Thompson, and this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag.
I have the luxury of having some of the best guests in radio, in my opinion. And every time I talk to my next guest, I'm reminded of why we're the youngest and the richest with the highest quality of life. We're the only one built on growth of the citizen economy, the private economy, not the government spending. All these countries that are thousands of years old, hundreds of years old, they all suck because they operate from top down. The government is good at doing nothing except enriching the corrupt players within government. My next guest knows this all too well, and he fights tirelessly as the president of the American Commitment and the Committee to Unleash Prosperity. Phil Kerpen, how are you?
I'm doing great, Shaun. How are you?
Aggravated, for just those reasons we talked about.
Well, I'm a little of that too. But, what are you going to do?
Well, I love what you do and how you articulate and then lead to a place, because there's always opportunity. And if we can, private sector grow, we can solve a major, major financial crime on the people called the American economy, which is steeped in the tenets of feudalism, which is why we adopted the number 2 plank of the Communist Manifesto as a tax system. It's to keep the working plebes forever and manipulate it so that the government gains more power and more money. But I can't help but notice one of your articles or one of the topics you tackled in an article was, and I find it astonishing, not just because it benefits me and it's something I picked out, but it really is staggering to know that $1 trillion of income was brought to one state in the country. It's mind-boggling, isn't it?
Yeah, that's we got a new study coming out under Unleash Prosperity, which is the group that I do on the side with Steve Moore and Art Laffer and Steve Forbes, sort of the super band, whatever you want to call it, of supply siders.
You are not only the best looking in that group,
but I appreciated the honor. I was honored.
Well, you're the best looking and the most athletic. You're the only one that could do 10 push-ups out of that whole group. Go ahead.
I'm by far the youngest, but yeah. We got a new study coming out. We did this study before on, the IRS puts out these numbers every year on interstate migration and the number of people that move from one state to another state and the amount of income that they had. But they only show you the amount of income that they had the year after they moved. And so we wanted to look at it a little bit differently and say, over the last 10 years, what's the total amount of income that people who moved and then, in the years after they moved, that they stayed in their new state, and add all of that up. Because when someone moves from New York to Florida, it's not just 1 year of income that goes with them. It's every year after that, right?
Right.
So we did this version that's a little bit different from what other people have done before, because a lot of other people, including us, have just taken those numbers from IRS and added them up. But that doesn't really give you the real number. That gives you a much smaller number than the real number because it only counts you 1 year that you move. But if you stay there, you should add every year. So we developed a method of estimating the total amount of income that's moved with interstate migration over the last 10 years, and we added it up. We looked at the winning states and the losing states, the top 10 and the bottom 10. All of that's going to be in the report. But just as a preview, we put out the number for Florida, and over the last 10 years, the amount of income that people who moved from other states to the state of Florida made was over $1 trillion. $1 trillion.
So
that's a million, 1,000 billion, however you want to think about it, $1 trillion of income of people who moved to the state of Florida in the last 10 years.
Well, the way I want to think about it is what it brings to the future prospects of everything from the quality of life in opening a retail store, in working any kind of job, the quality of the traffic, the quality of the roads, the quality of the schools, and more importantly, the forecast for the real estate values. And I say this to you being from an area that at one time was a fantastic area in all of those categories, but through years of corruption, neglect, and stupidity, it's not. I did a thing on my show yesterday where we talked, everybody, there are certain neighborhoods in Chicago. Ooh, the Gold Coast. Ooh, Lincoln Park. Ooh, the North Side. And the reality is, when you inflationally adjust money to the year 2008, every one of those neighborhoods that these imbeciles walk around and think they're hoity-toity is down 30%. 30% is big money in real estate pricing. And they're still pretending that it's not as bad. And the reason is it's the forecast of timestamp of money. Money is just money, but what it really is a timestamp of value. And if you're telling me that the progress, the future, is $1 trillion into one state, that shows you that secession by foot is something everyone should be aware of. Because if you don't take advantage of it, you're going to be left in feudalism, aren't you?
Well, we've seen this amazing experiment. We've got the 9 states with no state income tax, and it's not Florida's the top of the list, but, Texas, Tennessee, Nevada, really all of the non-income tax states have been magnets for people to move into, with probably the exception of Washington State, which, has been terrible with crime and a bunch of other things. But really all the other non-income tax states have done very, very well. So it's been a real-time experiment. Of course, there are lots of other policies, but, your Mayor Johnson just the other day, I think, put out a list of 39 tax hikes he wants. At some point, people just leave. And I think that's what you're seeing. That's why the real estate market hasn't even really kept up with inflation. Is you've got net population outflow, certainly of native-born Americans, and some of it, like the state of California, still has population growth, but it's all from international migration. Their domestic migration's been massively negative. And so,
right. And they also simultaneously have a massive expansion of welfare. Right, so congratulations, you got more people on welfare. That's not good for the economic future. And the reason I'm reflecting on this, Art Laffer, when he was a very young man, I remember him saying, I think it was when Reagan was leaving and Bush was coming in, he was moving to Tennessee. He's not from Tennessee, but he was moving there because it was a tax-free state with massive growth. And look at what has happened since 1988 to now. So why do they argue with geniuses? I don't understand it.
Yeah, Dr. Laffer was like Mr. California. I mean, he's from San Diego. He loves it there. I mean, I think, if California hadn't messed itself up so badly with bad policies, he never would have left. He loves it. He loved it there. But now he loves Nashville, right? I mean, people adapt. If you can save that kind of money, you can cut your personal income tax from, whatever the top rate now in California is, 12 or 13 to 0. Maybe the weather's not quite as nice. Maybe you don't have access to the beach, but you make up for it with all that money you save.
Yeah, the quality of your life. And when you think about the other topic I want to tackle that you talked about was the broken promises of the utopian health care and Obamacare drive down there. I mean, it's so nauseating to reflect it. I talk about it a lot, but it has to be talked about a lot. That is the acorn that grew into the socialist healthcare system we have, that destroyed not the quality, the quantity, all of the progress of healthcare. And yet people are afraid. I had on right before you, E.J. Antoni, we were discussing this. It is astonishing to me how used to absolute failure financially and practicality of the practice of healthcare. It sucks compared to before Obamacare. The quality of it, the death, the life expectancy, all of it. And yet the cost is 400% for the honest, healthy, decent American. And we're still going to entertain it in Washington, D.C. I believe the Republicans are going to break, and they're going to cover up that the health care insurance for healthy is $2,500 a month for a family of 4. It's ridiculous that we have this argument of continuing to fund stupidity and bankruptcy.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm glad that EJ's out doing interviews again, although I think it's a travesty that two so-called Republican senators opposed his nomination to run the Bureau of Labor Statistics because, they believed idiotic fake accusations against him, and they have no spine. And it's Collins and Murkowski, if anyone's wondering, where the
they wouldn't even meet with him, right? They wouldn't even meet with him.
Ridiculous, embarrassing. They read in the Washington Post that he called AOC an idiot, and they said, "Oh no, he's sexist." But by the way, AOC is an idiot. So I mean, I don't know.
Aside from that, yes,
it's kind of like unbelievable. But yeah, no, I mean. Every single thing that Obamacare promised us was false. Every single thing was a lie. They said prices were going to go down. They've gone up. They said you're going to have more choice. You have less almost everywhere. They said, people forget this. The nationalization of student lending was actually in the Obamacare bill. They said they were going to make so much money on student lending by nationalizing it, and that was going to. Then they immediately started running it at huge losses. Immediately. By the way, the U.S. government has the lowest cost of capital of any entity in the world. So if they can't run a loan portfolio and make money, that tells you something about how wildly incompetent they are, or they did it by choice. But, of course, the student loan portfolios lost a ton of money. I mean, anything they said was going to happen, the opposite happened. You can keep your doctor, you can keep your plan. Everything they said, the opposite happened. And you're absolutely right that their answer to everything is, oh, just throw more money at it. Throw more money at it. We'll just put it on the taxpayers tab. During COVID, Biden increased the Obamacare subsidies, so instead of taxpayers paying about 80% of all the premiums in Obamacare, taxpayers pay about 93%, and God forbid that should expire and go back to only quote unquote 80%. And they don't want to do anything to address the actual cost drivers. And by the way, every single thing in Obamacare caused more consolidation, less choice. You now have a couple of giant hospital systems that control everything in most cities. Some places only one. It's almost impossible to be an independent physician anymore because the federal government pays more if you're part of a hospital system than if you're on your own. And I think the quality of care has gone down a lot from when independent physicians were exercising their own judgment, and now they're part of these mega systems where there's tons of bureaucrats and administrators and all of this nonsense. And what do the Democrats do? They say, oh my God, if we don't just put it all on the taxpayers tab, then we Republicans want you to die. And you got a bunch of pollsters saying, oh, you guys need to cave. So I don't know. I don't know if they're going to. I hope they don't. But I think it's kind of pathetic.
Phil, in the very years ago, I used to love movies, old movies. And all the old movies, they would start out, and it was like the beginning of that negative hero where he was a gangster, but there was a good reason. And it used to be, well, my mother needs a surgery. My aunt needs a surgery. And you realize at the way in which costs have just skyrocketed since all of a sudden we stopped realizing as a species, nobody gets out alive. It's all death management in the first place. And it's like everything else where we are funding the people who are sick on purpose, the heroin addicts, the drug degenerates, the obese people who refuse to stop shoving food in their pie hole. So it all gets cooked in the mix. It's almost the perfect scam. I mean, it's either that or climate fear. They're 1 and 2 in the golden goose of government scams that we just throw more money at it, and it's all nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think spending more money's got us any quality improvements in healthcare. That's for sure. And when all of the money's coming from the government, or 93% as now in the Obamacare plan, there's no accountability for anything. And by the way they structured these subsidies is so poorly designed because you've now got, I think 40% of enrollees pay zero for their premiums. So, I mean, what do you care? It's like, you're not paying for it, someone else. There's no, and they sign millions of people up, by the way. There are millions of people in this country that would not pay $10 a week for an Obamacare plan. But if it's free, then someone will sign them up. Probably a broker, by the way, who makes a commission, and they don't even know or care or use the plan. But, if it's all on the taxpayer's dime, then fine. They go ahead and they sign them up. And then the Democrats say, oh, my God, these millions of people who might not even know they were signed up because some broker signed them up to make a commission, and they don't even file any claims. They're going to lose their coverage, and it's going to be terrible. And you're like, well, but with the regular subsidies, they could still get it for $10 a week, maybe $20 a week if they wanted it, which most of them don't care. So what are we doing here? Spending billions and billions, which, by the way, the $35 to $40 billion a year, it just goes directly to the insurance companies. So I don't know when they're talking about tax, they call it a tax credit or there's no tax cut. It's just direct subsidies to the insurance companies. They just get the money directly.
So you're doing that thing, and the people who listen to me on a regular basis know what I'm going to say. But I'm going to say it to you because I could tell you, like my mother and my grandfather and my grandmother, you're a good person because you think that the objective of the scallywag, scoundrel, political whore is to succeed in a policy. So you said it's doing that bad thing, and this is what you have to bring to the round table of economic geniuses, from Forbes to Laffer to Stephen Moore and the rest of it. The goal of a Chicago Democrat, a moron like Obama, isn't for things to work. It isn't for things to work. It's for money to be misappropriated. So in the grand scheme of things, you get 40% of welfare suck-ons that pay nothing, can go to the doctor repeatedly, never pay a thing. It's perfect. And that's how you get a Democrat in perpetuity. You could elect a pickle jar if you tell 40% of the people you don't have to pay for health care. You just vote Democrat. I'm in. And that's the flaw. It's the rat character against the decent people who want an answer and a solution. And that's going to drag us down to the crux of things if we don't beat it here in Washington. And I'm not sure, but you're around these scallywags. Do we have enough people who understand how important it is to defeat the cover-up of the real cost of this takeover of our healthcare system?
Honestly, it could go either way right now. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I think there's a lot of pressure on Republicans to just say, oh, no, we're not the mean people who don't want to fund health care. Here's another.
I'll be surprised if they don't take it by the time this interview's over. I'll be surprised if they don't cave by the time we're done.
We'll see. I haven't yet, so we'll see. But it's let me put it this way. I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh, boy.
I'll put it that way.
All right, well, when you're around the round table, would you bring it up that I called it and I wouldn't even take your money, even though I love to bet because I'm from Chicago? But the other thing I like is the scam of green energy. That Ivan path, that's fantastic. $2.7 billion. Barack Obama was going to build the solar in the middle of the Mojave. $2.7 billion. And all you did is fry birds up like you were at a chicken shack. It's insane.
By the way, if the economics of large-scale solar don't work in the middle of a desert, I'm pretty sure they're not going to work anywhere. So it's pretty amazing. Look, I mean, I think the green energy is one of the biggest scams out there. It's been unbelievable, the amount of money that's been put into it. And, the only places where it really works, even no matter how much subsidy you throw at it, the only places it's going to work are things that actually make sense to do. And, maybe off-grid locations, rooftop solar. There's very limited cases where it makes sense. But this idea that you're going to replace grid power on any kind of scale with intermittent renewables, it's like you can build a huge amount of wind capacity and you can build a huge amount of solar capacity, but you got to build natural gas backup for whenever the sun isn't shining or the wind isn't blowing. And if you have to build the natural gas backup, you might as well just build the natural gas plant. So, the logic of it doesn't work, and I think that's why it's been a disaster. And you look at what's happened in Europe, their electricity prices have gone completely insane, through the roof. You look at what's now happening in the U.S., and we're kind of following their path. And the Democrats and the media are so shockingly dishonest that we're now dealing with these rising electricity prices because of all these green energy policies, and they're blaming the rising prices on Republicans ending energy policies, even though the repeals haven't even taken effect yet. But they're going to try to pin it on. They're going to try to pin it on the opposite of what caused it.
Steve Forbes, Art Laffer. I mean, these are brilliant guys, and I want you to shine because I love you. You've been a guest of mine for a long time. Bring up to him that this whole thing was started from Nelson Rockefeller. It's the perfect graft. It's the perfect scam. They're the ones that started the whole green energy movement. They started it all with Margaret Sanger after she wrote an expose about how their workers were dying on the oil fields. It's a fascinating reality of just how much you can mentally manipulate the American citizen through the fraud and the smears of good intention. And like you just said, if solar doesn't work in the Mojave, Milton Friedman was right. You put the government in charge of sand in a desert, and in 3 years they'll be out of sand. That's exactly what we're dealing with. So do they make you wear the sport coat with the padded elbows? You got to dress up and everything? How does it work? You got a tennis sweater on? How do you go to these meetings?
I'm not a big, professorial style guy myself, but
go.
It depends. People are usually just in suits, to be honest.
Yeah, jump in.
Really,
Go in there with a pipe with the padded elbows. You really throw. Who's gonna mess with you? You'll kick everyone's ass. Phil Kerpen is the president of American Commitment. You can find it at AmericanCommitment.org. Thanks for always making time for me. I appreciate it.
All right, Shaun, have a good one.
You too. We'll be back with your calls and comments.
Make money, smoke cigars, and live free on the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Wealth Health Radio. The biggest fears that people have is, do I have enough money to retire? Retirement doesn't have to be complicated. To make sure that you're going through retirement with confidence. Learn principles of income planning. There's a lot of different facets that you need to take into consideration when you're retiring. Tune into Wealth Health Radio with Joe Murphy, noon to 1 p.m. Sundays on AM 560. The Answer.
The following advertisement includes a celebrity impersonation.
You know, nothing beats the comfort of a perfectly heated home.
And when it comes to heating your home, Air Right Heating and Cooling does it the best.
And they love our country. Beautiful people.
Air Right Heating and Cooling is fast. When your furnace breaks down, they'll fix it right away.
Just like that. Big time results. No waiting around. You get the job done right. And let's face it, who doesn't love being warm, right? It's beautiful. When it's freezing, I crank up that amazing furnace. Burn, baby, burn. Trust me, you'll say, wow, I've never felt this warm in my life.
If you like keeping your hard-earned money, then contact Air Right Heating and Cooling. Tell them AM 560 sent you, and right now you'll receive $56 off any service.
Unbelievable.
Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Air Right Heating and Cooling. Doing it right since 1959.
If your cash is sitting in a savings account, it's at risk. Old school advice says save more, but today the strategy is broken. When inflation spikes, they print money or cut rates, your dollar shrinks. So do your savings. The solution? Own something real. Physical gold and silver. When the dollar drops, gold and silver prices rise. And with Noble Gold, owning gold is simple. Just visit NobleGoldInvestments.com and chat with a specialist. The knowledge is free. The protection is priceless. Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals involves risk. Consult your financial advisor before making investment decisions.
Uh-oh. Did your network just hiccup again? Don't worry. This isn't our first rodeo. In fact, we've been wrangling Chicago's toughest IT problems for nearly 30 years. At Turnkey, we're the behind-the-scenes heroes keeping your email flowing, your servers running, and your team smiling. Think of us as your own IT department without the overhead. We handle everything from cybersecurity to server refreshes, software updates to user support. And yes, we even fix that printer your team swears is possessed. With decades of experience and a local team right here in the Chicago area, we don't just solve problems, we prevent them. So you can focus on running your business, not rebooting it. Visit turnkey.pro today, and your first month of service is absolutely free. That's right. Your IT problems could be history before the next billing cycle, because around here, downtime is not an option. That's turnkey.pro.
Let's see, if something costs less, a lot less, but people are actually happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MetaShare. Maybe you've heard joining MetaShare can save you or your family up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true. People are just happier with it. They love being part of something that reflects and promotes their values and what they believe in. MetaShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years now, and members have shared more than $7 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network, so yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care, whether you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan that you're happy with. Here you go. You can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. A very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. It's 833-34-BIBLE. That's 833-34-BIBLE. 833-34-BIBLE.
That's cold!
Don't get stuck with a cold shower this fall. Give CenterGuard Plumbing a call. Get a new 40-gallon water heater installed for just $1,195 for standard installation, or a 50-gallon heater for $1,295 standard installation. A proud new sponsor of AM 560, CenterGuard is offering specials on new water heaters. Don't wait. The cold temperatures are coming, and the same can happen to your water heater. If you're having hot water issues or your water heater's over 8 years old, take advantage of this fall special today. CenterGuard Plumbing is Chicagoland's same-day water heater experts. Call before noon, and they can schedule your repair or install the same day on in-stock water heaters. They'll even haul away your old one, no charge. You're only a text away from install today. Call 847-406-8883. Mention AM 560 to receive fall special pricing. That's 847-406-8883. Call or text 847-406-8883 or visit CenterGuardPlumbing.com.
I think everyone should dress as an ICE agent for Halloween, but that's a different topic. Now I'm going to tell you about after Halloween. I hope I see everybody at Freedom Summit. Tickets are now on sale. They always sell out. Tickets are budgeted for all kinds of different budgets. You can have just come and see everybody and listen to everybody, or you can get dinner and all the rest of it. This will be this year. Where we have Freedom Summit is November 8th, and we're going to have it at the Westin Chicago, Northwest in Itasca, where we have it quite often. I think COVID was the only time we missed. And this time we are going to fly in Dr. Ben Carson, Scott Jennings, and Mike Gallagher. I'm going to do a roundtable with Mike Gallagher. I'm really looking forward to that. Dan Proft will be there, and he'll be dressed like he just came off the golf course, I'm sure. I hope I see you there, and all you have to do to go to it is freedomsummitchicago.com. It's that simple. freedomsummitchicago.com. It sells out every year. And every year, there's always those people, I'll take any ticket. Well, go there now. You can pick it out for yourself. freedomsummitchicago.com. Be there or be square, November 8th. Can't wait to see you there. When we get back, Andrew in Cherryville has a joke for me. I'll take your calls before the weekend. I hate the weekend, but we're going to be back on Monday. 312-642-5600. After News with Patrick.
A federal judge has blocked temporarily President Trump's deployment of National Guard troops to Chicago. The judge partially granted a temporary restraining order requested by lawyers representing Governor Pritzker. The order, which will last for 2 weeks, blocks temporarily Trump from federalizing and deploying the Guard to Illinois. Another day of protest against the ICE facility in Broadview. This as DHS says they plan to expand and purchase more buildings for Operation Midway Blitz in the Chicagoland area. Sister Jean, Loyola Chicago basketball superfan and team chaplain, has died at the age of 106. Here is Fox's Jared Max.
An icon of the Loyola University basketball program, Sister Jean Dolores Schmidt of the Sisters of Charity of the Blessed Virgin Mary died Thursday at the age of 106. Back in the 2018 NCAA men's basketball tournament, at age 98, Sister Jean became a national folk hero as an extension but critical part of the men's basketball team, for whom she served as chaplain. The 2018 Loyola Ramblers became a Cinderella and went all the way to the Final Four. She led team prayers and also lent a hand in scouting and advising student athletes to boost their grades. Loyola President Mark C. Reed stated in part, "In many roles at Loyola over the course of more than 60 years, Sister Jean was an invaluable source of wisdom and grace for generations of students, faculty, and staff."
News is a service of AlmostFreeTeeth.com. If you've been getting high quotes for dental implants with medical PPO insurance, it's possible to save 90% off on average. See if you qualify today at AlmostFreeTeeth.com, making smiles great again. More news at 7 o'clock. Continuous coverage of the latest news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com on AM 560. From the traffic center, check the roads. Here's Jill Lerchak.
Kennedy 45 downtown to the airport. Watch out for an accident inbound Eisenhower at 9th Avenue. Hour and 25 going in. It is 45 minutes as you head out to 390 with a crash reported at 390. Stevenson 40 out to the Veterans Memorial from DuSable Lakeshore Drive. We are still seeing delays along DuSable Lakeshore Drive either way through Grant Park, some closures, and that is due to marathon closures. Also, on the tri-state, watch out for an accident going south in the right lane before the Hinsdale Oasis. Eastbound Jane Addams, one at Bartlett on the side. All the tollways are busy. This report is sponsored by Audible. Stuck in traffic? Audible's Romance Collection will have you falling fast in the slow lane. Satisfy every side of you with best-selling modern rom-coms, the hottest romantasy series, and anticipated new releases. Start listening free when you sign up for a 30-day trial at audible.com. From the AM 560 The Answer Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchek.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Tonight, expect partly cloudy skies with a low of 51. Tomorrow brings abundant sunshine and a high of 64. Tomorrow night will be mostly clear with a low of 53. Sunday will be partly sunny and pleasant, reaching a high of 69. On Monday, anticipate a mix of sun and clouds with a chance of a shower in spots during the afternoon with a high of 75. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Get your tickets for Freedom Summit Chicago 2025, happening on Saturday, November 8th at Westin Chicago Northwest in Itasca. This year, featuring Dr. Ben Carson, Scott Jennings, Mike Gallagher, along with Dan Proft, Shaun Thompson, John Anthony, and many more. This event will sell out fast, so get your tickets today at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Aid for Women, Breakthrough Ideas, and by attorney Stephen A. Leahy at Opum Tax Advocates.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Perhaps you're a collector. Or perhaps all of a sudden you have a collection. Maybe it's an inheritance. How do you know what it's worth? This is Shaun Thompson for Donley Auction. The market for antiques and collectibles is changing all the time. What is your collection worth right now? Well, I've got an easy way to find out. It's simple. You contact Donley Auctions with their worldwide audience of live and in-person auctions. They have a good idea of how to tell you exactly what it's worth at exactly right now. They're ready to put top dollar in your pocket. The bigger the collection, the better. Go to DonleyAuctions.com and get the info on all things that they buy and sell to have an idea of exactly what Donley does and how much they need your collection. They have so many buyers, it's a great time to sell. Just simply make a phone call. Donley has traveled all over the country to pick up collections. Just call and talk to the people at Donley Auctions at 815-923-7000. Donley Auctions is your trusted partner in turning your collections into cash. DonleyAuctions.com.
This is Alistair Begg, inviting you to sail with me next September 5th through the 12th, 2026, on the Deeper Faith Norwegian Fjords Cruise. If you've never been to this picturesque part of the world, the sights are magnificent, and the glacier-carved cliffs demonstrate the grandeur of God's creative handiwork. Throughout the journey, I'll be teaching from the Bible. Together we'll learn from the Scriptures, enjoy a week of fellowship and worship, and stop at several ports where we'll stroll through quaint Nordic villages. This is an opportunity to explore scenes you won't soon forget, all while forming new friendships with fellow believers from around the world. Cabins are limited, so call today at 855-565-5519 or visit deeperfaithcruise.com. 855-565-5519 or visit deeperfaithcruise.com. I hope to see you on board.
Book today at 560theanswer.com/deeperfaith.
Hi, this is Shaun Thompson. When you take your grandkids to Disney, do they know what's in your investment portfolio? Do they even care? They're busy having a great time, and you're busy making memories. At Alpha Wealth Group, Tom Fortino understands the nuts and bolts of retirement planning, the investments, the stock market, taxes, Social Security, Medicare, and much more. But think about it. What are you really trying to do here? Is your goal to beat the S&P, or is your goal to make memories with your family? At Alpha Wealth Group, their goal is to give you the confidence to spend in retirement without the fear of running out of money. Call Tom Fortino and the team at Alpha Wealth Group to learn more. You can do it today. Call 630-864-6711. The number again, 630-864-6711. To schedule a no-obligation consultation. You can do it today online as well at alphawealthgroup.com. That's alphawealthgroup.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
So what's the crackpot saying about a werewolf, Squirrel? Say it in my ear. What is he saying? Werewolves. I mean, we got the craziest fracking people. We get trolls. Are they still called troll? Who knows? Moron Democrats. We don't care about your theory of werewolves being tools of eminent domain. What a moron. Let me guess. You would have voted for easy peasy. Come Kamala, where's my underpants, Harris?
Why did the government fund a 5-square-mile laser death ray that kills 6,000 birds a year? That is Ivanpah, a solar farm in the Mojave Desert. And the bird apocalypse isn't even the biggest part of this boondoggle. So 15 years ago, Google, NRG Energy, and BrightSource Energy got together for this idea. They would sell solar power to PG&E and California Edison until 2039. But they needed funding. So Bechtel, who's a big government contractor, helped them get a $1.6 billion loan from the Department of Energy. See all those mirrors? Yeah, there's 350,000 of them, and each one is the size of a garage door. They reflect.
This is 3 years old, and that 1.6 is now 2.6 because and all the other Democrat thieves kept funding it.
Like sunlight onto boilers 450 feet high as part of the solar thermal process. The project promised to create 1,000 construction jobs and power 140,000 homes. Ooh. And that didn't happen. In theory, everyone would benefit, from workers and local communities to politicians pushing green energy. Now,
again, even if you don't believe in the science, your thermometer is not a Republican thermometer. Yours is not a Democratic thermometer. There's certain realities, lived realities, experiences.
That's why last week when they were talking about, you're having an Indian summer, and it's very warm, and they would talk about how it was close to a record, and then they would give you the date, 1951, because all of the data that's used for this swindle, all of it, has only been accumulated since 1885. That's what this whole fracking scam is based on, which is why the best swindlers are always the profiteers. The Democrat swindlers.
118,000 acres were burned in 2019 by this time last year. You can see.
Oh, I got the 2019 one, right? That's when it was the professor that was starting the fires. 350,000 acres. Was that? Do I have that cut?
After he was caught on camera lighting brush and trees on fire along Alameda Street near Union Station. Happened around 2 o'clock this morning. A Metro bus driver near the scene grabbed a fire extinguisher off the bus and quickly put out.
No, that's the one they put out.
Los Angeles County authorities are on the hunt for a suspected arsonist in connection with that raging wildfire. It began Friday night in the Pacific Palisades area.
Oh, no, that's the one that burned the $7 billion worth of property, and it was the Democrat moron from France who did it. This is all a fracking giant scam, and it always has been.
Dozens of climate experts are criticizing a recent Energy Department report on greenhouse gases, saying it is full of errors. In a 439-page review, the group says the DOE cherry-picked or misrepresented climate science. The Trump administration's report claims global warming induced by carbon dioxide is not as damaging economically as commonly believed.
No, it's called photosynthesis. Andrew, Cherville, Indiana.
What do the city of Chicago, Patricia Arquette, and Johannesburg, South Africa have in common?
Warts, genital warts. No, what do you got?
They all looked good 30 years ago.
Oh, but bump. I tell you what, that was a good one. But I still think at least one of the three clearly has genital warts. Megan, Orland Park.
Hey, hi, Shaun.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I look forward to seeing you. I'm going to go to the Freedom Summit. You got some great guys coming. How could I not go?
Oh, excellent. Can't wait to see everybody there. I'm looking forward to seeing you again.
Yes. Okay, so I'm calling because, so I didn't realize today was, in fact, the awarding of the Nobel Peace Prize. And my husband said to me last night, he's like, Trump really should get it, but he won't because he's Trump. And, he brokered the whole, I don't know if it's totally, done, but he brokered the whole thing between Hamas and Jerusalem and all that. That's what I understand, that come Monday they're going to let the hostages go, correct?
Allegedly. I'll believe it when I see it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But, and then, of course, we have Obama who got it. And what did he do?
Well, Obama was interesting, right? He expanded the bombing to about 16 different Middle East states. 96% of the bombs he dropped from drones killed innocent people. He bombed Yemen and Syria and all around. And he got the award because he was a moron Democrat. And the standards are lower. I mean, after all, when you really think about how stupid Democrats are, how bankrupt the areas they reside over are, and how corrupt the people get used to, it's really a miracle if they can get up and dress themselves. So the awards and the perception is really quite lower. We grade on a curve, and in there lies the problem. Because if people realize what Democrats do, there would be no Democrat Party, and there certainly wouldn't be an acceptance of fraudulent climate change nonsense sold by a guy whose father was the tax attorney for John Paul Getty.
Close to just shy of 2.3 million acres have been burned this year. As it relates to the issue of climate change, we are experiencing unprecedented confluence of issues this year that we did not experience last year. Unprecedented record temperatures, a heat dome that impacted the entire west coast of the United States, not just a few states on the west coast. We are dealing with the reality of some 14,000 lightning strikes over a 72-hour period. Trust me, that.
Aside from that being called Thursday in Tampa Bay, none of that's responsible. It all boils down to a low-life scumbag communist with a Bic.
Today, we are announcing the arrest of 29-year-old Jonathan Rinderknecht for igniting a fire that ultimately burned down the Palisades earlier this year, killing 12 people, destroying more than 6,800 structures, both homes and businesses, and damaging over 1,000 more buildings.
Now, the only good news for that low-life scumbag is a Democrat judge will probably let him out on an I-bond. Mark, Oak Lawn.
Shaun, boy, oh boy, that is good stuff, uncovering these criminals. That Newsom, boy, I wish I could cut off his hair, you know?
$1 trillion in the wind. $1 trillion.
What a lout.
For this swindle of green energy. And every one of these scumbags got a kickback. Shoot.
You know, I was listening to Ben Shapiro, and he's talking about, we need to raise the Social Security age to 70 years old because it's an entitlement country. And you know, I worked all my life, and you know, like you say, just give me the money that I've paid in.
You don't owe me nothing.
And let's call it a day.
You'll bring down the whole system with that request, kid. You'll bring down this whole Ponzi scheme with that.
Yeah, you know, Shaun, and you know what someone said to Shapiro? They said, let's stop giving the stupid-ass wars in Israel and paying them all this money. That maybe we can pay Social Security with that money.
And what happened then? Somebody get arrested?
I think the cat swallowed. He swallowed the cat. He didn't know what to say. You know?
Here's the thing. When this is told out, and I don't know Ben. He's probably a wonderful guy. I'm not slandering Ben. But here's what you have to understand. If they're going to continue to perpetrate the crime, then you have to tinker with the ages, right? But make no mistake about it. From the time it was created to right now, the goal of the government is to never pay you that money back. Never.
I know.
They're not interested because they stole the money in the general fund. And I would never say, let's raise it. It's a scam. Stop it. It's that fracking simple. Stop it. It's a fraud. And you destroy employment from the worker and the employer. It's a fracking scam. 312-642-5600.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show, where Democrats are always wrong, Republicans are seldom right, and politicians are never, ever to be trusted. On AM 560, The Answer.
The following advertisement includes a celebrity impersonation.
You know, nothing beats the comfort of a perfectly heated home.
And when it comes to heating your home, Air Right Heating and Cooling does it the best.
And they love our country. Beautiful people.
Air Right Heating and Cooling is fast. When your furnace breaks down, they'll fix it right away.
Just like that. Big time results. No waiting around. You get the job done right. And let's face it, who doesn't love being warm, right? It's beautiful. When it's freezing, I crank up that amazing furnace. Burn, baby, burn. Trust me, you'll say, wow, I've never felt this warm in my life.
If you like keeping your hard-earned money, then contact Air Right Heating and Cooling. Tell them AM 560 sent you, and right now you'll receive $56 off any service.
Unbelievable.
Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Air Right Heating and Cooling. Doing it right since 1959.
Shaun Thompson here, and I'm with the team from Access One, the founder and chairman, Mark Joswiak, and vice president, Enzo Scafidi. We're talking about how Access One can help business with their IT challenges. So let me ask you this. What are the most common IT challenges you see businesses facing right now, and how does Access One help to solve them?
Some common challenges that businesses, especially, customers of ours face is obviously security. Security is the number one thing on the forefront that businesses struggle with. They have a hard time choosing which services, which products, and how to implement them, how to design them, and how to train their staff to use them. Making sure that they're up to speed on everything and understand how the technology is supposed to work is probably the biggest challenge because it all starts at the human level. If you fail at that level, the rest of it doesn't matter.
If your business needs help with managed IT, cybersecurity, or voice technologies, you need to contact the team at Access One. Learn more at access1inc.com. That's access1inc.com. Or call them directly today at 1-800-804-8333.
When the power goes out, life stops. Heat, AC, fridge, phones, all gone. But with a Generac home standby generator from True Power Generator Service, your home powers back on automatically, so you're never left in the dark. Book your consultation today at truepowergenerator.com. That's TRUpowergenerator.com. Plus, 560 listeners get a free 10-year extended warranty. Terms and conditions apply. Call for details. True Power Generator Service and Generac. It's not just a generator, it's a power move.
AM 560. The Answer.
Кабас колбасит соло, колбасер по пояс голый.
I can't wait for that money to be ripped back from the Ukrainian overlords that stole it, the former Soviet Union. And speaking of that, I don't know what nationality she is, but I like the name very, very much. Now, Kasha, before you get started, is there a way you could tell me the joke in the voice of Natasha from Bullwinkle? Because I looked for her ever since I'm 18. I looked in every tavern in Chicago. I looked at Viagra Triangle. I even looked into some nefarious places of scantily clad women. Never found Natasha. Can you speak like her?
Hi, Shaun. I'm not sure who Natasha is. I'm not sure.
Come on. Natasha from Bullwinkle? I've been looking for her my whole life. All right, go ahead.
I heard the caller tell you a joke, and I was sitting here thinking, I have to let you know about this joke that I saw yesterday.
All right.
So it goes like this.
All right.
Chris Kirk got lost outside of Chicago. He stopped at a store and asked the clerk how to get back to 355. The clerk responded, diet and exercise.
I've heard it 1,000 times. I still love it, Kasha. Thank you very much. Please work on the Natasha accent. Isabella, Lake Forest.
Hey, Shaun. What's up? How are you?
Good, Isabella. How are you? I love that name.
Thanks. I'm calling right now because there's currently a boil order issue.
All right.
Apparently the water in Lake Forest is unsafe to drink. We got an email at about 6 o'clock today, and we're trying to call the city because obviously our water is not safe to drink. And they closed down at 4:30. How am I supposed to take a shower, brush my teeth?
Well,
What's
you
going
could.
on?
Well, let's think about it. You could take a shower, the brushing the teeth, boil it, but you're buying water from Democrats in Lake Forest. You should be boiling that anyway, Isabella. But I like the public service announcement. Thank you very much for telling everybody in Lake Forest to boil their water. And don't kid yourself, kid. It's never really been that clean, and your parents have been paying a tremendous amount of money for it. Thank you very much, Isabella.
Thank you, Shaun.
Thank you. Isn't that nice? We got young listeners, we got old listeners, but more importantly, we have smart listeners. And we're here to tell you, if the government's lips are moving, it's a lie, lie, lie. And if they're Democrats, woof, it's a lie with a kickback. Good news is we win in the end. We're America. Now, we'll be back on Monday. We will be live on Columbus Day, and it will be Columbus Day all day Monday. And I can't wait to talk at you then and talk to you. Have a great weekend. And if you're in Chicago, don't just boil the water. Those are not firecrackers. Serpentine. All right, give me a little Charlie Kirk, our friend, Squirrel, and then the anthem, please.
Here I am. Every single one of us goes through times of tests and trials. And you say, God, use me. What do you want from me during this trial? For those of you that are not yet believers, it's very simple. You're going to have a court date. We all die. And you're all going to meet the supreme judge of the universe. Justice is getting what you deserve, which is going to a not so good place. We're all sinners and we all fall short of the glory of God. But thanks to the cross, a perfect, loving God who came down in human form, human flesh, lived a perfect life and died for us so that we can live forever. At that moment, when we're about to get that sentencing into eternal damnation, somebody says, no, I know him. I know her. Welcome to eternal life. You have an opportunity. The gospel in 4 words is Jesus took my place. 3 words is him for me. 2 words is substitutionary atonement. And 1 word is grace. Grace you cannot earn. Grace you do not pay for. It doesn't matter how much money you give to the hospital. It doesn't even matter how many doors you knock on for Trump. And I hope you knock on a lot of doors for him. You can't earn it. It doesn't matter if you're a good person. It doesn't matter if you have always done the best you can, because what's different about Christianity is that it's a gift for all of humanity to receive regardless of everything that we have done. And your life will be transformed. You will be born again. Grace is not earned. It is given by a God who loves you and wants to spend eternity with you. It is the most important decision you can make in your life. Here I am. God bless you guys. Thank you so much.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? Oh, so proudly we hailed at the twilight's gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming.
Retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving MyPillow with a ton of extra MyPillows. But you know what? That's their loss and your gain. MyPillow is offering the classic collection for whole